Evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your ICE League of Legends Winter Finals. I am Dutch Source. I am joined today by Neurologic, and we're jumping straight into Big Ben. But first of all, how are you doing, my man?
Not doing too badly this evening. Looking forward to what should be a great series. These are two teams who've had kind of shockingly similar paths to this grand finals. You know, they split a series in the group stage. It was the only games either of them lost at all, with TUD then coming out on top in the tiebreaker. Both of these teams only dropping one game in their semi-finals, which in the best of three is all you can drop and still make it through, I guess. But, you know, they've looked on a very similar level coming into this one. So we're looking forward to an absolute banger of a series tonight.
Yeah, TU Dublin Apes and also University have been, the best teams, which is why they got into finals. They've been really closely matched as well. They came from the same group, where you gotta quickly go over these bands. Anivia, Orange, Jin on one side, Kaisa, Echo, and just waiting on the last one to see what you consider a real threat. Could be something like that Akali or that Echo, which is covered as a flex, or even the Samira, who's also always super annoying to play against.
Definitely is, especially at the moment. She's been toned down a little bit on the current patch, but still a strong champion. And one that Blank would have the potential to just try and run through a game with. They're going to target the support in that lane instead. Mezzi getting Leona taken away. A little bit of an interesting choice. Morgana potentially would have been a pick as well. And then for TU Dublin, just the quick lock-in of Shen. It's something that the move plays a lot of. It's also potentially a bit of a pick away from Supsi, who likes to play that champion. We'll probably see him end up on a tank anyway.
Yeah, Supsi really appreciates that. And already gives them a little bit of a split push composition that Shen immediately fits right into that role. So you do have the Misfortune lock in on the other side. Could potentially look at a Morgana. No, they decide to go already full wombo combo.
That's a big wombo combo. Maybe regretting banning the Leona away themselves right now, because that'd be a really nice one to pair alongside this Misfortune in the bot lane. But still plenty of kind of tanky engaged supports alongside that to pick up, to set up that wombo combo. You know, something like the Thresh, something like the Rakan, even potentially for Ginger Joe in this bot lane. We'll have to see what they go with. Over on the other side, TU Dublin going to lock in an 80 carry of their own, it looks like here. They'll go for the Ashe. Good utility champion. Not necessarily the highest damage 80 carry, and so you'll probably be looking at Prism taking something with a bit of damage in the jungle here as well now.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see. Prism has those, champions ready for himself. The Hecarim still open, the Gain, even the Graves if he wants to pick that away from Disco Daken as well. So that is a very, very strong option. From what I'm looking at now, it does look like, and especially if this gets looked in, it looks like a very definitive pick composition where you're trying to pick someone off and then win off of that, because the team fighting, not particularly the strongest on this team right now.
Definitely not, but the pick that they have put together is scary. Ashe Arrow from long range, Akali going in with a Shen on top of her. I mean, that's just an invisible ninja with another ninja about to arrive, and you can't do anything about it. They're in your backline killing your squishies, and there's not much that those squishies are going to be able to do unless you get some peel out of that support position. Graves will be the lock-in. You mentioned it for Disco Daken. Definitely a player who's comfortable carrying out of the jungle, and Graves is definitely the kind of champion that can do that.
I will be looking at, either that Morgana being banned, because that is still up and available, which could provide a lot of peel for both of these teams. Could even help a little bit with the wombo combo setup if they get a good tank in the top lane. But on the other way, they could be looking at support bans.
I'm interested here in the top lane bans. This could be a Maokai ban last for TU Dublin. And in that case, Supsi's champ pool and the champions we've seen him on are all basically gone. They'll go for the Morgana ban instead against Ginger Joe. Both supports play that, a lot of that. But I mean, at this point, Ulster University, if this Morgana ban is finished, they'll just probably pick up the Maokai here, or last pick for Supsi. That's really the only other champion we've seen him play in this top lane. And then looking to pick up support. Thresh still available with Morgana gone. That becomes a very viable option as well.
Yeah, Thresh would actually be really nice to provide some peel for that Misfortune. It can help with the catches and the setup with that Flay. We see it hovered and potentially locked in. I actually do really, really like that pick. Even you can even look towards roaming about with Disco Daken and set him up to get a little bit more pressure around the map. So super, super good pick. I'm curious what the response is going to be. Morgana now not up and available. Leona taken off. Nautilus taken off. There's not a whole lot left. Maybe the Alistar, I think.
Yeah, but Alistair into Thresh just doesn't feel like a good matchup a lot of the time. The Flay interrupting your dash can make it hard to actually get into those engaged positions. You have the Ashe ult, so you could follow up with that. They'll pick up their jungler first. That's a Wukong. We've seen those pop off against this TUD Ape squad in their semi-final. This time, Prism picking it up for himself will be looking to go crazy, but we're still looking for the support pick here. And as you say, the support pool has been pinched quite a lot in this pick ban so far.
I'm actually curious if that is Shen jungle potentially.
Ooh.
So that could very well be an option. We have seen Mu play Shen. We haven't seen um, Prism play Wukong or
Play the
Shen,
Shen.
but we
Mm.
can. Okay.
I think it's probably more likely that Prism's playing the Wukong after they were dumpstered by it in that game too last week. I feel like he's probably gone and played it a bit himself and figured out that it is actually a pretty strong pick that he's going to potentially, be able to carry on out of the jungle. And Rakan to round out their pick composition here is very nice for TU Dublin. They have a theme going on, and they'll be able to stick to it. Shen has plenty of good ult targets as well that'll get into the back line. But Poppy is lock-in instead of Maokai, and there are a lot of dashes on the enemy team. I really like that lock-in, and it wasn't one that was even on my radar for Soupsy.
I love the Poppy. It fits him as well. We have the tank plays. He stops the dashes. He stops the engages. He tries to stop the pick that comes from Rakan or Wukong. This is
It's great.
particularly smart, I feel like.
Yeah, great against the Akali as well. You stop that dash, and not only do you stop the dash with your W, but you actually ground the Akali. She won't be able to dash again for a little while if you're standing on top of your carries. So Soupsy is a great chance to just peel and be the peel that his team needs in this. And once you have the peel, the damage coming out of Miss Fortune, Orianna, and Graves, if they can get to that kind of mid to late game, is going to be massive. And especially around objectives, this team is going to be a monster when it comes to team fighting.
I am a little bit curious about how they are going to play around that early game. I do think they can provide pressure depending on who the jungler is on TUD, right? Like Graves clears a little faster, can move around the map a little quicker. And that means that you were talking about the objectives could be going in their favor in the early game as well, if they play it right.
Yeah, the Wukong, there's no hard CC in the mid lane, so it'll be a little bit tough to gank that Orianna. But of course, Wukong being able to stealth in behind people does give him a bit of ganking power. And then this bot lane, of course, Rakan, if they can land good knockups onto the Thresher, onto the Misfortune, there's a chance there to try and get that lane snowballing. I don't see much going on in this top lane for either jungler, but the Shen and the Poppy just too tanky and too many ways to get away from those early ganks without more hard CC coming from the jungle. So mid to bot lane is where we're going to see these junglers roaming around in the early game, I reckon.
And it's going to be interesting to say the least. We're going to have to wait, however, for the spectator delay, and we'll be right back as soon as we are on Summoner's Rift. Welcome everyone to our first game of this best of 5 between TU Dublin and also University. It's about to be a smacker. We see a little bit of a four-man stack actually, seeing if they can find anyone trying to invade in greedily. For now though, it seems to be like it's not doing a whole lot.
A little bit relaxed there. There's a 5-man stack. If Wukong walks forward toward that push, it's going to be a rough time. But Prism, no signs of doing that at the moment. Shen is looping around, but looks to just be getting vision in the tri-bush. So not much doing at this level 1. Ulster University trying something early on, but nothing happening out of it. So we get to talk about the early game and how we expect this game to go instead, Dutch.
Woo! Yeah, so you and I, as we very often do, we're talking about League of Legends. And specifically this game, we were like thinking, we're like brewing theories, what could happen in this game, and we kind of concluded, right, this early game shouldn't really be all that spicy.
Yeah, not much doing. Neither of these junglers, as we mentioned in Champ Select, have their own tools to help, set up ganks once they arrive in a lane. So they're really reliant on their laner setting up. Both do have good follow-up damage, but then when we look down across the lanes, a lot of the CC will only really arrive at level 6, especially in this bot lane with the Rakan ultimate, with Ashe's ultimate coming through at level 6. That's when it'll actually become feasible for them to lock up the Misfortune and Thresh duo and allow Wukong to get on top of them. So we're not expecting too much to happen here in this early game, but level 6, we're expecting things to start to get real spicy real fast.
Yeah, level 6, so we have some item spikes, and we have that, crucially, that Stand United actually. Being able to make those cross map plays will be very, very useful for the side of TU Dublin.
I talk about it all the time. I want to see aggressive Shen ults, and especially in this bot lane. Look, when they hit that level 6 in the bot lane as well, Rakan ulting in after following up an Ashe Hour with a Shen on top. I mean, that's basically a guaranteed kill on whoever you land that on, right? Whether or not Wukong is in the area, as we see.
Oh, so good engage in the bottom lane. Immediately the flash gets burned, and even in the top lane, you were saying that Poppy should be able to bully out this Shen potentially, but it seems like the opposite is happening at the moment.
Yeah, Shen still does have very good early damage. Both Shen and the Poppy do. It'll kind of come as well. These trades start to change a little bit. What is that hook? Was so close. The trades change a little bit once Shen has his taunt and Poppy has her steadfast presence, her W, able to stop it. Because from that point on, Poppy can kind of prevent herself from getting taunted, which also stops the Shen from managing to land the sword behind Poppy and actually get the pass through. And it changes, but at the same time, Supesy needs to actually hold on to that steadfast presence for when the taunt comes out. It needs to be reactionary, not kind of trying to predict it, as we saw there.
Oh, well, and then immediately the taunts land, the sword is behind him, the stun doesn't connect either. So...
And that's exactly why. You need to hold on to the steadfast presence, because otherwise Shen will just engage on you when it's down, and you lose the trades pretty hard from that point.
Looking at this bot lane already being bullied, and you'd expect that to have a little bit more range with that Thresh versus Rakan. For now, though, they're struggling a little bit as Ginger Joe, looking for a play, has the hook available to himself, lands it onto Blank, the perfect target. Knockoff lands on the other side, excuse me.
Nice little trade there. Wukong is in the area. Ginger Joe needs to be careful.
Oh no, this is so bad. Flash 4 from LXP, but Ginger Joe all by himself. He's gonna be taken out. That was some unfortunate timing on that one.
Oh, they just didn't respect the fact that Wukong could be in the area at that point. They felt safe. Graves was walking over from Blue Buff as well. This is a bit of a trade in the top lane. Shouldn't lead to too much more. And Ginger Joe just not respecting the fact that his flash was blown earlier.
Oh, the taunt, the damage actually is their move with the help of his passive. Does so much to Supesy. Flashes gets the kill. Already a 2-0 lead. That sets up this mid-game already a little bit for the side of... well, early. Like, this is... already 2 kills just given over for free, basically.
We said that the early game wasn't going to be that explosive. We didn't expect to see too much happening, but that was based off, thinking that these players would play out their lanes correctly, that they wouldn't go over aggressive, that, the Ginger Joe wouldn't blow his flash early on and then immediately try to re-engage with Wukong in the area. And then this top lane, that's just Supesy. We haven't seen him play Poppy before in this tournament, and I think that right there kind of shows that maybe he's not as familiar with the champ, and definitely not particularly familiar with the matchup, because while Shen does have a good lot of early damage, probably shouldn't be killing the Poppy this early.
Definitely shouldn't. Like, realistically, no jungle intervention either, so I don't think you should ever die like that tank versus tank. And you just want to skill up as well. We were talking a little bit that if this team composition is a little bit behind in the mid game, then well, I'm gonna hold my point. We have a nice steadfast presence, excuse me, as the Moon now in a little bit of trouble. Doesn't have flash either, used it for the kill, and that could set up Disco Daken for a kill of his own. He's trying his hardest, taking a little bit of time, but there it is. It gets returned, so a little bit of gold back into the pockets of
That's well played. This time around, Supsy holding onto the steadfast presence and using it when Taunt came out. And you saw it. I mean, at that point, Shen just stops, can't go anywhere, and that's the escape tool gone. One with Flash Blown, who is absolutely nothing to be on. C-From's going hard on this.
Yeah, Rwanda's didn't have a whole lot of mana, perfect execution used, but didn't get a kill either, so that ultimate not available anymore. Keep in mind both of these mid laners do have teleport. And I think this Wukong again, looking for a bit of a bot lane gank if he gets close enough. Hook lands. Oh, it does land on the Rakan, but not the target you really want. Gets flayed back. He still can get out of that one.
There's a lot of tools for stopping dashes over on this Ulster University side. They not only have the Poppy Steadfast presence, but a well-timed flay can do so much to interrupt the engage that will come out of TU Dublin in this game as well. So Ginger Joe needs to be on form with those, and we'll keep an eye, see if he actually can manage to land those, because it can really disrupt the TU Dublin game plan if some of those key dashes get interrupted.
Looking like a little bit of an awkward invade, as both of the bot laners are there. Disco Daken manages to pick it up, gets his collateral damage. That was up to level 6 with that Gromp, so it's a little bit ahead of in XP. Look at the main difference already as well. 12 CS up, that is, if my maths are correct, 4 camps.
That's 14. That's 14. Yes, but yeah, no, that's 3 camps. All right. So nothing you said was correct, Dutch, but I will allow it. It's fine. You'll have plenty of chances to stream yourself. We're in for a long series that could go the distance. This is two teams, they're trading back and forth in the early game, and now as the level 6s start to come in is when we'll really start to see things potentially happen. That Akali ultimately used early is a long cooldown, but it will be back up soon for C-Prom. And with a fight potentially breaking out over this next scuttler, no, it's already been taken. But we could see now C-Prom potentially look bot lane with this ultimate, with Shen, with Wukong clearing the topside jungle, and will be heading bot side soon.
Doesn't have a 6 just yet, but should get it soon, I think, after 1 camp? 2 camps. 2 camps! Mets is not on today, let me tell you. We'll get there. I'm a diesel, man. I'm warming up.
Takes a little while to get the engine ticking over. I mean,
yeah,
it's the middle of winter. It's a cold night. It's been dark for hours already, especially where you are.
Exactly. I'm an hour later as well, you know. I'm closer to bedtime. It's all working against my favor.
Just doesn't seem fair.
What isn't working against their favor is that 700 gold lead for TU Dublin, so they're still ahead a little bit in this game. Not too crazy, nothing too fancy.
And I'd imagine quite a lot of that is just sitting on Blank at the moment. The one kill on the app is up 10 CS as well. And Blank is really kind of, I think, a key player in this team. They look to enable him on this Ashe, or on AD carries as much as possible for those big team fights. And he is a potential win condition here for TU Dublin with the Rakan and the Wukong to set up team fights. If Blank is far enough ahead, he definitely can just chop through the entire squad in the period of lockdown that those two champions will provide him.
So Dragon has started, going down in about 100 HP. Hook does land. Let's see what's gonna happen. He steals it with the play. Ginger Joe gets it. The miracle steal, but there's Stand United. Do they have what it takes? The 3-man Shockwave says no. They have the damage. They have the team fight. They are winning this one. Beautiful hook from Ginger Joe to get a cherry on top of that one. 2 kills and a dragon. Ginger Joe putting up a masterclass.
I mean, how much damage does Flay actually do? It can't be more than about 100, right? There was no way that Ginger Joe, in the middle of 3 people, including Prism, who still has Smite, by the way, should have gotten away with that dragon. And not only that, but the team fight in comp that Ulster University built themselves, coming up big there. A huge shockwave from Rwanda's. Didn't hurt that much just yet, only sitting on the last chapter. But as this game goes on, if Rwanda's can continue to land those, and Alex P can get good ultimates down on top, and Ginger Joe just keeps, getting those plays off at key times, this Ulster University team will not slow down in how much damage and how well they do in these team fights.
We were expecting, this mid game to be a bit of a slump, right? We're now getting towards those level 6s. We were expecting that Stand United to be key, that Arrow to be key during these team fights, but apparently a flay is all you need.
That's all you need.
So, flay is all you need, man. They get the dragon, they get a gold lead, And that basically sets them up to teamfight even more if they can ever get their hands on a skirmish.
Absolutely. And there's not a huge amount of disruption on the other side that can stop Ulster Universities from setting up these team fights, unless Prism gets a flank or can get into the back line and, really interrupt at the key moment. But that takes great timing from the Wukong to disrupt the back line right when they're trying to pull off Shockwave. And all it takes is Randus getting off, half a second of space and you can get a decent Shockwave onto a lot of members.
That Shockwave will be key in most of those fights that we're going to be looking at. Because we were talking about the play, but that Shockwave on 3 members was already very, very juicy.
Well, I think that was just, members of TU Dublin standing around in shock in the Dragon Pit. And after
How does he get it?
How does he get away with this? Something of a flame mignon, that one.
My God, man. 5 games, dude. Come on, I can't take it.
Can't blow it all. Yeah, no, that's fair. Ginger, look, he missed that hook, so he's not perfect, but this bot lane is, without jungler intervention, not going to be doing much. Wukong is around here in the top lane. Graves recalled, but, this Poppy is so tanky already, and Shen is going to be equally tanky if Graves looks up here all that often. So at this point, leave the top laners to their own devices. Shen will be joining other lanes anyway. Poppy only has half cooldown on TP, so Supsy has to do a bit more work if he wants to actually show up and be useful at any other lane. But for
I get a bit of a skirmish around that Herald now as the junglers will find each other. But one is going to be the first to walk over. Stand United is up and available though, so they shouldn't really want this team fight just yet. So it is a 3 versus 3. This Kodakin being the first one to take a lot of damage. So Prism has to flash away, still gets taken out. The Hammer of Justice makes sure that Moon doesn't intervene either. They're slowly, but very, very steadily getting more and more ahead in this game.
Ulster University looking like the better team in the first 12 minutes. They've used their cooldowns effectively and not wasting, apart from Ginger Joe flashing out and then dying immediately when it wasn't up. They've been respecting ultimate cooldowns from the other team. You said it yourself, Stan United ultimate was up there. So they went up, they fought around Rift Herald, and moved the Shen ult isn't as useful when you're just using it on someone who's 2 feet away, right?
I didn't even use it, so we'll never know.
Exactly. Didn't even want to use it.
He knew what's up. You as a Shen, connoisseur, you only want to use it across the map because that's the do this.
Exactly. You want to get the most distance possible out of that. I mean, the fact that that's not one of the stats tracked by the Eternals is a little bit sad, right? Like, how much distance have you covered with Shen ults? That'd be pretty cool, okay? Right, you can take these ideas for free. Don't worry about it. This trading in bot lane.
Scaling with distance.
Oh, that sounds real weird. I can't imagine that would be helpful or balanced in any way. But hey, it's a fun idea.
Yeah, could be for a optional game mode. Let's quickly go back to the game as we are looking at a bit of an interesting build from MF. We haven't really talked about that. There's a lot of options that you could go. Wasn't expecting the tier though.
The tier is a little bit unusual, but of course you still get a lot of just flat AD from the Mana Moon and the Mirror Mana once you finish them, and a little bit of extra damage as well, so it's not a bad thing. And we'll actually rush to finish that Mana Moon, so we're not going to get a sense of whether this is going to be a more lethality-based item as Supsy's in danger here.
Yeah, he walked back, took a little bit more auto attacks because, might as well. They get traded for some turret plates in the mid lane, just before they fall as well, actually. So good timing on that one. They got the extra gold, they got the damage. And now the Drake has spawned, so we could be looking at a potential team fight around this objective. Again, Stand United is up. Crucially, Supsy's teleport isn't. So that could be the difference maker in this fight if it ever starts to break out. For now, they're just slowly waiting. Not of these teams really want to put a trigger out on that one. The vision is nice. Doesn't get cleared away, so they should know exactly what is going on.
And you can see Supsy is now just walking to this dragon fight. Shen in the top lane is trying to do some damage to that tower, but this is a Shen without Demolish and without any form of AD at the moment. So it'll take him a while to work on that, but he is getting some free experience, some free minions up there as well, and some free tower damage. And Supsy, with the fact that TU Dublin have decided to just back off this dragon, is kind of down here for no reason at this point. And is forced to blow that teleport back to the top lane. So while this is, you know, a momentary win for Ulster University, you know, they've managed to get the Drake. In the long run, this is now a big window for TU Dublin to actually force plays with this Shen ultimate across the map to try and get Blank further ahead in this game to give themselves that win condition in the mid game that they need.
For sure, we should be looking at those Shen ultimates. When is the opportunity there? It does mean, however, that we should be looking at, you know, TU Dublin to start out a fight. Use that arrow, use the grand entrance, try and get something going, because if you're falling further and further behind, there's not a whole lot you can do besides prey on catches later on to the game. So let's just wait and see, as we do have, well, sort of an attempt of a gank involved, but no one is there. So unfortunately, no one is going to be hitting that one.
Yeah. Of course, this is a TU Dublin squad that is set up pretty well for picks. Ash ult at any point in the game is dangerous, but especially late game when there's enough damage to just burst out whoever you hit with it. And then the Rakan helping as well. As Soupsy really not coming out the best in these trades at the moment.
Oh, he gets the return trade as he's kind of vibing. Now he's gonna lose again with the damage, but Dakan is there to help him out. Oh! What a dashback from Soupsy. Well played by him. All my compliments to that play. That was actually really beautiful, and Dakan picks that one up the back end of that one, so well played to him.
Yeah, no steadfast presence, no problem for Soupsy, but here's Prism.
Yeah, Prism has the Cyclone available. I think he's just looking to clear the way, so not a lot of damage will be taken on that turret. But again, Dakan just finding these openings across the map. You're expecting not a whole lot of action in the top lane, but it keeps happening right there.
And not even off particularly great setup from Soupsy, right? I mean, obviously that was a really nice dash, but that was not Soupsy managing to steadfast present the taunt. That was not Soupsy managing to actually stun the Shen against the wall. That was just Dakan noticing that the move has really been going aggressive, trying to win this lane hard, maybe harder than he actually needs to. As that was a flash by Ginger Joe. We'll ignore that and just say, yeah, great job by Dakan in the top lane, right?
Yeah, for sure. Flash was available for the move, so probably thought he couldn't get out. Again, still has TP, still has a Stand United. We're halfway through Soupsy's roundabout TP cooldown. And if that is done, and we haven't seen a play around the map, I will be really, really disappointed. And I'm sure you will be as well by TU Dublin.
I mean, they just have such good options for using that Stand United aggressively as well. Getting it onto Akali in the backline, I mean, she's invisible, Shen arrives, and between the two of you, there's not many people who will actually survive. Wukong getting a flank off with Shen on top, it's extra CC and damage on top of the Cyclone, and even just Rakan going in. They just have such good options for Stand United, and as you said, they have a big window to use it while that teleport is down. This could be the play that it happens on.
Yeah, it's slow and steady. They're kiting it out a little bit as Orianna's close, Ron is ready with the Shockwave. And again, everybody just kind of walks away from the action. Nothing too spectacular is going to happen, and Shen's just backing.
Yeah, I'm heated, man. I wanted that engage to happen a lot, but there's good disengage on the Ulster University side. The Misfortune E, I think, it gets underrated a lot of times. That is a big slow, and it's a big area as well. You throw it down in a choke point, and it becomes very difficult for the enemy team to chase you. And then, of course, Ginger Joe still has ultimate available on the Thresh, Hook, Flay. All good options for stopping someone who's trying to just run at you face first.
It must feel good that you have those options to actually, well, stop it and make it happen yourself, right? It basically goes two ways with the comp they have drafted for themselves. Not the best of dashes. Well, now it's actually looking like that wet noodle fight that we're used to, but still the move getting the better of Soupsy every single time.
Shen damage is pretty high. It's definitely balanced. Nobody touched Shen, so he's totally fine at the moment. I really want to see C-Prom go down to this bot lane. I think there's enough damage between Akali and Wukong and enough survivability with a Shen ult coming through for whoever's tanking tower that they could, even through the disengage from the Thresh, probably just kill this lane under tower if they sent enough members down there. Blank is doing a good job winning this lane anyway alongside Mezzy. You know, they've gotten this first tower down by themselves, but there was definitely a chance to snowball this lane earlier in the game. And teleports, I mean, it's not going to be back up in time for this Drake, but honestly, it is not far off, and they still haven't done anything cross-map all the same.
Oh, engage and Ginger Joe, can he find something? Is Stand United going to be used? Sure. Is that the reactive flame you've been looking for? It even got cancelled? Wait, what happened there?
He just used it in front of Soupsy.
The ultimate.
Yeah, multiple options to cancel it. Can use the E to cancel it, can use ultimate to cancel it. It was also...
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that it was necessary. That was a Thresh who was alone and there was no one else nearby. And now that's a big cooldown gone. Moo will still be able to join this fight with teleport if he wants. But there's a chance for Ulster Universe to contest this Susie.
He's fine, pushes him under the tower. Now different engage. Arrow collapses. Disco-Daken should go down. He's still alive though. Perfect execution, doesn't execute, but it doesn't matter. Shutdown goes over to the C-Prom. And that means they win a team fight 5-5. We are looking at a little bit of a mid-game slump from UU as now a dash and a flash used. And Moo still doesn't get the kill. He might be looking for a dive later on.
Great fight by TU Dublin, but this top lane has been, I'm going to say, probably frustrating for Moo in these last 30 seconds because he got the Stand United cancelled, then he got his teleport cancelled, and then he tried to taunt flash on top of Supsy and missed. And Supsy gets away with his life. So not the most, a little bit ignoble there for Moo in the top lane. But luckily for him, his team still won the fight on the bottom side. With Thresh down, it was just straight up a 4v3 down there, and they capitalized well. Rwandis this time not able to hit many people with the Shockwave, meant that there wasn't good setup for the Misfortune ultimate as well. And with Dakin going down early on, that's a big shutdown that went over, and now TU Dublin are suddenly feeling a lot more comfortable in this game.
Yeah, Kali picking herself an extra... Oh,
800 gold.
Quick peek. 800. Yeah, so an extra 500 plus the 300. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Sorry, Matt. I'm telling you, it's not my thing
This
here.
is a no math stream at this point, Dutch Source. We're not even going to try anymore.
Numbers banned.
Yeah.
If I see a number in chat, you're gone.
We'll get them on that right away. Supsy still not doing great in these trades, and it's allowing Moo to just pick up, you know, a 40 CS lead he's now got. Has not gotten a lot of damage on that tower because Supsy still can't just sit under it and farm as Poppy, and Shen can't do much about that. But this Shen will actually be a little bit threatening. I know he hasn't looked all that threatening yet in this game, but Shen has enough damage as we've seen up against this tank to be a legitimate threat when he arrives off the back of a Stand United. And so that's scary if you're playing against Moo right now. I was keeping an eye out there. I was just wondering if something was going to break out around mid lane. It doesn't look like it. It looks like they're going to send people up to dive Supsy. This is not the lane I expected a dive to happen in.
4 people top lane. Dash again gets cancelled. Nice steadfast presence. Make sure that the hammer hits too afterwards, but he still should be taken down as Blank just hits him with a lot of arrows. And he picks up the kill for himself. Good dive, but they might be losing their tier 2 mid tower for it. I'm not entirely sure if that's worth it.
Supsy wasted so much time on that dive. Played it about as well as could be expected when you send 4 people, all of whom have CC up against you. They will possibly get this top tower, but they've left Shen to just take it alone because they needed to get back to defend their mid inhib tower. It might not even drop on this wave. They might not even get a tower out of it. And yeah, as you said, top laner for mid inner tower, probably not a trade that, you know, if you were looking at it on paper, you'd be all that eager to make.
I certainly wouldn't have, you know, pulled that trigger, but hey, they got a kill. They might get a... Well, they're not even gonna get the third if Disco-Daken has anything to say about that one. Trying to clear the wave, gets it as well, so that's gonna stay alive a little bit longer. Definitely not a trade you should be looking for. It's going from bad to worse for the side of TU Dublin. They get the kill. They are now only 100 gold behind, and this is basically the point where we should be saying, right, to move, level 13, prison, level 12, some items gonna be completed. Look at those 2 item spikes, especially that Runates on Blank. This is the time where TU Dublin needs to be getting ahead, right?
Especially because something that we haven't really touched on is that there's very poor wave clear on the TU Dublin side. I mean, it is from range essentially just an Ash W, and that's not going to be doing all that much. They're looking for Supsy again. They're going to try and take down the tower. Prism, this is dodgy. That was, look, it worked. It was ugly, but it worked. But with Disco-Daken on the way, the fact that Prism took half his health there could be relevant.
Yeah, collateral damage up and available. Moo has a dash out, but I don't think Prism is that lucky. Cyclone to get them both, but not getting enough out of that one. So he's still going to go down, and what an insane play in the top lane as they are now trying to push that tower. So they gotta respond their top tower being taken by taking a top tower themselves.
I mean, the decision making on TU Dublin right now is just kind of poor, honestly. That 4-man dive in the top lane led to them losing a tower. They're frustrated then that the tower didn't go down in the top lane in response. They send their jungler up to tank it and take it, and Disco-Daken hovering around the area. They knew he was there. He just cleared the wave away from the Moo on the last wave, so an interesting play. And as you can see, I mean, it's led to now not a big gold lead for Ulster University, but right at a time when it looked like TU Dublin were starting to get back into this game, had a chance to really take it over. A couple of poor decisions has led to that gold lead disappearing a little bit. But I mean, down in the bot lane, you can see it. Blank's still massively ahead, and I've said it a few times, I think he is the win condition here potentially for TU Dublin, and they need to try and enable him in these fights.
They're trying their best to do so, but now it's time for Drake. Who is gonna win this team fight? Who is set up for victory right now? As we should be getting a fight soon. So Messi trying for a grand entrance, only hits one, but there comes the St. United Prism all the way at the side. Suki stops in the triple shockwave and the bullet time. There is the combo we've been wanting to see, a double kill. Immediately goes over to this enough. The C-From doesn't take another one, surely as a triple kill being taken by the AD carry. 3-4-1. That was a beautiful team fight.
Yeah, that blank gold lead I was talking about is just being cut down significantly with a triple kill going over to Alex P, and it was well played by almost every single member of Ulster University. Soupsy doing a good job of recognizing that the Shen ult was on Rakan there. After the kind of whiffed Rakan engage only got one, Shen was coming in for the secondary engage, and Soupsy knocking the Rakan away meant that Shen didn't come in on top of everyone. It also grouped the three members up, and then Rwandus with great shockwave timing again, hitting all three members in the middle of a bullet time from Alex P. And I mean, that's like we said it earlier, that's just the team fight power of this Ulster University squad. And TU Dublin need to work a little bit harder to make it difficult for them to actually get that off.
Yeah, so right now they are far enough behind that they should just be looking at those picks we were talking about before. Yes, they can team fight if they are ahead. They haven't been, they have been even. Now that the third items are gonna be coming down, it's time that you should just be looking at, maybe we can't team fight. Maybe we should just look towards those arrows, those Cyclones, and those St. Uniteds to try and get a pick off and work from there, because clearly that shockwave is just gonna hit every single time you let Rwandus try and make that play. But now, well, I was talking about picks, and there we have it.
Oh, Ginger Joe, I mean, that's Blank's damage at the moment. It's just so high, and Ginger Joe was stepping a little bit too far, not respecting it. They didn't even have to blow anything for that, really. And we've seen a couple of times in this game already. Ginger Joe, all three of his deaths have really just been him getting caught out a little bit far away from his team with flash down and dying for it.
Yep, not something you would like to see, as they are ahead. Now they might lose their Tier 1, a mid lane turret for it as well. Alex P doesn't get narrowed to the face, but Daken does. And now the Cyclone hits two. Shutdowns will go over. Daken will go down. A double kill going over to the Wukong. You cannot let that happen when you're this far ahead.
And AoE pick potential means they don't need to just look at picking one person. They can pick two people. That was Ulster University throwing good money after bad, staying to a tower after they lost their support that was too low to offer real safety. And that's just 2 kills gifted over, and potentially a Baron as well. This is a pretty dangerous call, but with Daken down for another 25 seconds, this is probably just going to be Baron alright.
We could be seeing a PoE steal though, if Rwandus gets close enough to that Baron. For now though, he decides he doesn't want to move, again missing one of his taunts. Now gets taken a little bit low. Orianna joining in on the fight. I'm not entirely sure if they want to finish this. They're just walking away, so TP is going to get channeled. Rwanda's still close enough. Need to be careful. This Akali can do a lot of damage. Misses her first Shuriken. Is it gonna happen? No, it misses. It wasn't even close. It's gonna be Prison that secures this one, and the fight ensues after. They already get 2 kills for themselves, as Soupsy has nowhere to run to. Right now, it is all TU Dublin in the driver's seat.
Killer instinct from TU Dublin in this game, showing off why, you know, they did come out in top in that rematch in group stages, the tiebreaker that these two teams played. They're just going for the throat. It was literally one pick onto the support that led to all of this. 2 carries then stuck under mid tower, not able to do anything about it, and they're still going for it.
Then United Cyclone, the arrow, every ult in the book to just get a pick. Works for them. Jungler goes down, and it gives them such an opening to try and push for this inhibitor potentially. 10 more seconds on Soupsy, 43 on Daken, and only 4 on Rwandus, but no ultimate. Crucially, on this Orianna, that inhibitor is just going to be taken down.
Ginger Joe died once, about 3 minutes ago, and it has led to all of this, to an inhib falling in the mid lane. This is TUD stamping on that gas pedal. They are accelerating this game massively. And that was the proactive Chenault. It finally came through. I'm so happy we saw it, Dutch. They know how to use it. And honestly, great effect. They're now in a good position to, close this game out. The one thing you do need to keep an eye on is that the next dragon spawning has the potential to be sole point for Ulster University, or to be the sole for Ulster University, I should say. Thanks in part to, Ginger Joe, the man who we were kind of just criticizing, with a great steal early on. So Ulster University, if they can lock that one up, they're definitely not out of this game yet, despite the fact that the gold lead has just gone from 600 in favor of Ulster University to 6,000 in the favor of TU Dublin.
This dragon could be crucial to give them a little bit of extra time, but look around, look at the ultimate. Stand United isn't going to be up, but the teleport is Supsy. Also, with the teleport available, Seaprom doesn't have it, Rwanda's does, and oh no, not again. Ginger Joe, the quickness, he gets taken down just as quick as he gets caught. That was unfortunate timing, to say the least.
It's kind of just been the story of this game, sadly, for Ginger Joe, is getting caught out at crucial times when objectives are available for the other team. And it'll mean that this Drake will go the way of TU Dublin. They'll delay that potential soul by another 5 minutes. And that's Ulster University really kind of, their Hail Mary was going to be trying to steal this Drake, or trying to find a window to sneak it away from TU Dublin. And now, I think in this next kind of 5-minute window, TU Dublin should just be able to put a real stranglehold in this game and close it out before the next Drake even spawns.
And honestly, either you aren't there as Ginger Joe, or your team should be there, right? Those are the two options there. Neither of them happened. And then you just get taken down again. And that Baron buff still up and available for TU Dublin. Get a third for themselves as well. I don't know why we're looking at top, but I'm sure there's a good reason for it.
Yeah.
Supsy trying his hardest to clear out these things.
It's because Sunfire Cape exists and is doing people. Exactly. Yeah, you're dead right there as well. Ginger Joe, he's the man we saw on screen getting caught out. This could be another pick.
Oh, knock-up only lands on the support though. This time it's Ginger Joe. Stays alive, and Dakin tries to go for this red buff. Smites it away. Secures it. Thanks on for himself though, on the bottom lane.
But that's a great example of what I actually wanted to talk about, which is Ginger Joe. Yeah, he got caught out, but as you said, it's more because his team weren't moving in when the Drake was spawning with him as well. They should have been there. This time around, his team is with him, and even though Ginger Joe gets caught, gets knocked up, there's enough members around to dissuade the follow-up. Ulster University, I think they just need to, move as a unit a little bit more, not go solo and Disco Dakin.
Dakin with some fancy footwork, but the hook unfortunately misses, and that could mean that there's no follow-up. The ball right onto Disco down. Now Mezzy used his flash, used his ultimate, so an engage potential gone away, but how much can they get from that?
Probably not a whole lot. There's not a lot on the map at the moment. It'll be a chance now for Ulster University to push these waves back out. They will have their inhibitor coming back up in a little while. And so they'll be able to hold on for a little while longer. We could actually see the spawning of this next Drake. Baron up in a minute 40. We probably at this point you'll see TU Dublin, after that blown kind of flub engage chance, wait for those to come up. So
TP just got used by the Moo, who's trying to get Supsy, but is walking all the way under the turret. I think Supsy should be healthy enough. If Prism cannot join on this, there it is. Finally joins Mezzy, misses the knockup, but Supsy will go down either way. Rest of his team joins it there. Do they have enough damage to kill the Moon? Not just yet. Ginger Joe looking for Hook. Again, doesn't find anything. He needs to change his bait, and speaking about bait, he just gets taken down.
Baited himself with the hook there, I think. Walking forward to try and hook one member out of 5 strong walking through the jungle is probably not going to lead to anything anyway, so you don't need to risk it. They could look for more picks here. All of a sudden, again, I was saying, this game will probably slow down. We'll wait for objectives to come up. And instead, TU Dublin just find a couple of picks, move with a really aggressive teleport onto Supsy, who had hung around in the top lane to try and push those waves out. Leads to a lot, and they're going for it again.
Engage from Mezzy, knockup after knockup. Disco Dakin cannot move. Bullet time gets stopped, but Dakin still alive. Moo went down. Flash Ray from LXP keeps himself alive. Dakin does not have the life steal to live another day on this one. Flash Ginger Joe, please! Just hit one!
It's been, I think that's the 4th one this game. But hey, we said we're not doing maths, and so I don't actually have to know if my count. That's a landed hook, though.
There it is. Hook lands on Mezzy, but it doesn't really matter. Supsy knocked off. Gets damaged, and there is Blank from the backline, and there is disgusting. He just guides them all the way to death. That will be the Nexus turret. That will be the Nexus. Surely they don't actually have the minions. They have to get the inhibitor first. It's gonna take a little while longer, but surely they're gonna close this one out. Game 1 should go over to TU Dublin.
Blank just showing off in that last fight. Had 10 kills going into it, had 12 coming out. So much damage out of every member of this team. TU Dublin kind of clutched it out after it started to slip away from them in the mid game. And that is a well-deserved first game win to set them up for the rest of this series.
Well deserved indeed. And like you were saying, it looked very well set up for Ulster Universities. And at the end, like one mistake just led up to several mistakes. And then they just kind of lost.
Yeah, they're going to need to look at that for next game. Just if there is pick tools on the other team, you can't just get caught out by them. The existence of the pick tool doesn't mean you have to let it get used on you. And they really were just getting picked off one by one in the jungle, trying to find vision or waiting a little bit too long after a wave. And that's exactly what led TU Dublin win this game, was just finding sequential picks. The deaths were constantly staggered on the Ulster University side for those last 10 minutes. And in the end, it led to the win for TU Dublin.
Yeah, well played by them. You know, hopefully we'll get another close game in our second game. We're gonna have to wait a little bit longer before that lobby gets made. So we're gonna go to a quick break, but we'll be back as soon as we get into champs. And we are back for game 2 between UU and TU Dublin. And normally, I start my intro off by saying, like, what a convincing win by TU Dublin. But this time, wasn't so convincing.
Wasn't that convincing at all. It was definitely Ulster University allowing them to pick members off repeatedly as we see our first ban, but I'm not sure what it is. It's Kaisa as it vanished off our screen. So bit of a shake-up on the Ulster University side in this game 2, taking away potentially a few blanks champions. Over on the other side, probably not going to see too much change up from TU Dublin. The Anivia ban away from Rwandus, of course, and then the Jin take away from Alex P likely, and probably then just another top laner right from Soup C. We saw last game on the Poppy, he didn't look as comfortable as some of the other tanks we know he has more experience on playing up against the move.
What else did we see banned last game? Because now we've seen Ash ban from UU.
Yeah, it was Echo, Leona, and Kaisa last game. So they are going to, I think here, look to probably just ban away another AD carry. Just take some of these off the table. That will, it leaves the Echo open. It leaves Leona open. There are champions that then, they can go for on the TU Dublin side that they otherwise wouldn't be getting their hands on. But we'll have to see what this last ban is going to be. Is the Shen is taken off the table as well?
Yeah, some adaptations from TUD as well. Now that they don't have first pick, they did ban Jin and Ornn and Anivia last game, so that Shen taken off the board means that one of these picks are going to be left open, where on the other side, like you were saying, that the Echo is going to be stayed open. And the Echo is actually a really good pickup for TUD because it is a very, very strong fax pick. That means that the Jin is going to be left open for UU, but to decide for now, they do not want to pick it.
Yeah, of course, Jin was nerfed a bit on this patch, but it wasn't wasn't a particularly heavy nerf bat that he was hit with. Even still, feeling like the misfortune worked out, and I think that's fair enough. Alex P played well on that champ. There just wasn't much he could do. The times when he was dying in team fights was because someone on his team his peel was already dead, and then he was just getting dove on by a Wukong and a Rakan, and at that point, no AD carry is going to do well. So just going to run that back, but it does mean that Jin, who, as I said, still a very strong champion, even after those nerfs, is available for blank. And we saw towards the end of that game how much damage he was outputting. His positioning on the Ashe so good. And Jin, definitely a champion that he can carry this game on as well.
And it has a bit of that same role as Ashe, that you can try and help your team pick up those kills with the curtain call, with the deadly flourish. So I like the pickup. It will do a lot less AoE consistent damage than the Ashe. So curious how that works out for that composition. Like the Orianna, a bit of a pick away from Rwandus as well, and that means that we're gonna see a new champion for Rwandus this game around, which I also am very curious what is going to be.
TUD just looking to pick away all of UU's champions at the moment. Beat them with their own kind of standard comp. The Orianna pick away from Rwandus I really like. Rwandus had some big ultimates to set Ulster University up early on in game 1. Obviously, they couldn't capitalize on it later on. But the Echo up against it, that's potential kill pressure here in the mid lane for that Echo on Rwandus into this Orianna, and it really is both teams kind of trading champions right now.
Could very well be a flex pick towards the jungle. Dakin, of course, known for his carry style, and Echo fits that bill quite well. I'm curious what they will run it out with in that first rotation, as we're just looking forward to a Maokai. Hey. Okay, well, you got your wish. And,
it's Soup C back on comfort, right? And back on a big engaged tank as well. Poppy plays much more that role of kind of trying to shield your back line, get the other team off. Maokai is just about pressing a big button to go forwards and the rest of your team following up on. And it'll provide a lot more lockdown for this Misfortune follow-up. We'll see if they want to pick up any more kind of big team fighty ultimates. But this is, I think, going to be UU playing a style that we're more used to seeing out of them.
It's actually funny that both of these junglers not picking up their jungler of choice. So we potentially could see them being banned on. Outgrave still open, Hecarim still open, Kayn got reverted in his last patch, only has a bit of a cooldown reduction on his Q. As your favorite champion going to be taken off the board, unfortunately, so we're not going to see that one.
Yeah, Cho'Gath's pretty strong at the moment. Turns out getting very tanky and unkillable and still doing a good bit of damage is good. There are some bugs with him, but I'm not sure if they picked. And then look, supports are getting taken off the board, and that's just fair, because I'm not going to go on about Cho'Gath all champ select, all right?
Okay, get your mind off of it, man. We're not gonna see it anyway. I do like the Thresh takeaway. Like the early game, man. that play wasn't worth it alone, right? Like you
Yeah,
don't need any
absolutely.
plays after that.
Clip that one, send it. Don't talk about what happened to Ginger Joe and the rest of that game.
True. As two tanks being taken away, I think if that sign gets locked in, they're basically putting themselves into a very strong team fighting composition.
They will be. They'll have good engage. They'll have a big beefy side laner in the Scion as well, or a small beefy side laner in the Kled, who of course does go for that tank at the moment. And the Kled's going to be locked in. The Moo is one of the few players I know who still plays this champion kind of at all, especially in tournament settings. It can be hard to make work, but with the Nautilus already there for a huge amount of CC, Kled now providing an easy alley for Nautilus to get onto people as well. This is in and of itself are another very strong team fighting comp. And we saw the move bullying with just Shen in the last game up against Super C, and Kled against Maokai is potential for plenty more bullying in that top lane.
All of you know that Supsi was, letting the bullying happen. There's a tactical gameplay. No, I'm just kidding. Brown gets locked in. Vladimir. All right.
Okay, so it's Jungle Echo, right? And then Roandus on a bit of a scaling pick. Likes these scaling picks, like these scaling teamfight mages. We saw the Orianna last game. Vladimir is able to go a little bit more 1v5 than the Orianna. And so Roandus, if he starts to get ahead or just scale into the late game, could really put the team on his back. He has been put in a position to do so this time around.
So now we see a Kayn locked in. I think UU basically what they have done is they have crafted the same kind of flavor as last composition, right? Where they kind of want a team fight. This time they have a little bit more backline access, and they want to just try and pop those champions out, right? A little bit less setup for Misfortune, but I think that's fine. It worked out perfectly decent for them in the last game.
I think there's two big changes on the Ulster University lineup that you have to look at when you compare this comp to the last comp. The first one is engage tank versus disengage tank in the top lane for Sup C. That's a big change that I think is going to be much more comfortable for them. And secondly, the Braum is just much more disengaged for this Misfortune. And Ginger Joe can, in theory, do a lot more this time around to stop those kind of aggressive enemy champions from jumping on Alex P while he's trying to set up those ultimates and blow them up.
It's they kind of role swap top to support basically, right? If I'm getting a lot correctly, I actually do like it considering what we saw in the last game where Ginger Joe kind of got caught out. I think that Braum fits him a little bit better in that aspect, gets him a bit more escape and a bit more disengage. On the other side, I am looking at a composition that has some pieces here and there where I'm looking at Orianna, Nautilus, maybe even Kayn, where it's very much teamfight focus, and then a Kled and a Jhin, where it's very much pick focus. So what can we expect from this composition?
I think it's just a bunch of strong champions, right? It's TU Dublin. They're set up to do really well in their lanes. I think Kled against Maokai is definitely going to be very Kled favoured. Jhin and Nautilus have potential to kind of bully out Misfortune Braum. I mean, it's tough, but anytime you have Nautilus on your team, if a jungler shows up, you have kill pressure. Orianna against Vladimir is going to be a little more kind of even in that mid lane, but Orianna can scale up as well. And then they just have plenty of options. They have pick options, like you say. They have team fighting options. Even in a team fight, Jhin can output a lot of damage, then back off and open up that curtain call, pick off the low health members. And if this Kled is getting ahead in the lane, we'll be able to show up and do a lot of work in getting the rest of his team into the place they want to be. Get so much speed following Kled into those team fights.
True. It makes it very easy if you hit that charge ultimate, of course. We're gonna have to wait about 3 minutes because we will have spectator delay, and we'll be back as soon as we get into our second game on Summoner's Rift. Welcome back to game 2 between TU Dublin and Ulster University. 1-0 scoreline for TU Dublin as we are running into our first game. This time, no level 1 shenanigans. And maybe a bit of a slower early game than last time, but we'll have to wait and see.
Potentially a little bit slower. It was relatively slow last game as well. We saw a lot of people waiting for ultimates before they really started to try anything other than a couple of silly kills given over by both teams. But this time around, there is a little bit more setup in the lanes for those ganks, excluding the mid lane. So these junglers, I think, really have a chance to look both top lane and bot lane, try and get one of them rolling. I think especially in top lane, if the Kled starts to get ahead of the Maokai, it'll become a lane that Maokai can barely even walk into before just dying to the Kled. And down in the bot lane, really, if it starts to tip either direction, it's going to be a little bit rough for whoever is on the losing end of that.
I feel like, in general, that bot lane is just basically decided by who is losing, because if MF or Jim gets behind, it's going to be very, very hard to do something. Now, the Nautilus does a little bit more in the laning phase than Braum, so that could negate it, but as soon as that MF and that Braum falls behind, I'm looking at, like, basically a stomp in the bottom lane, if that ever happens.
And we've seen Blank consistently in this tournament just build up advantages in lane for himself. Mezzy obviously doing work, is down there, is present, but really it is off the back of Blank and some great play. Building those advantages up as it's already rough. You can see the 60% grievous wounds that come out for Kled when he lands the second half of that bear trap on a rope, make it so hard for Maokai to ever trade in this lane.
Yeah, already down 50% HP. Didn't pop his potion just yet. Has the Doran shield to get a little bit more regen. But yeah, it's looking very rough already for himself. He's slowly healing him back up. Gets the pullback actually. Decides to not follow up further. Bit of an aggressive. Oh, excuse me.
Moo took quite a lot of minion damage there. That's a flash. Oh no.
Mezzy, okay. Ginger Joe, I don't know if he flashed into that one or Mezzy predicted it, but the first one goes over towards that support anyway.
Oh, that's why you don't flash in a straight line, kids. Against straight line skill shots, it will just end up with you getting hit anyway. A little bit rough for Ginger Joe there, who does go down to it. And this is an early advantage for Blank in this bot lane. Didn't get the kill, but this is still a Jhin who is now getting farm, getting his own way in this lane, and this Jhin could be terrifying as the game goes on.
Yeah, that's already a 10 CS lead build up by that bottom lane. A kill and an assist. It's wrong, man. I was talking about it like just before. It's like if this bottom lane in that MF and that Braum gets behind, then it could be very, very hard for them to get back in. As now the move finding Supsi. Supsi is kind of greeding for it a little bit here. He wants Kled off of Scarl. Doesn't get it just yet. Prism just waiting for an opportunity.
The move is so close to dropping off. He's about 10 health away from dropping off Scarl here, but we'll get a lot of damage down, and both junglers are in the river, so this is a little bit of a dangerous trade for both of them. Supsi drops low.
Still alive, and that is the important part. Meanwhile, everyone else is fighting. CProm and Rwanda's fighting each other. I don't think that Vladimir has enough damage to really push through this one. Doesn't have the ignite either, just has to teleport. So no one should really die from that one hook right onto the minion.
There was a lot of minions in the way of that hook. That was optimistic at the best, I think. But yeah, no, this bot lane still going well for Blank and Mezzy. Back got those Swifty boots, so can look to move around the map a little bit as well if they want. Try and help their jungler on this Rift Herald. They could even look to go mid lane potentially, and they'll get there very quickly. And other than that, it'll be easier for Blank to get out of anything that is thrown his way. On the other side, something to just touch on is this Misfortune. Alex B went for the tier start, so that's kind of why this is such a combat mismatch in the bot lane as well at the moment. Misfortune not doing much, but there's a gank in the top lane.
Gank in the top lane, parallel convergence going to connect as the pushback is perfect from Supsi. The move doesn't have his best body anymore, but it's looking like he wants to survive. Flashes away. Oh, no. Is he gonna get it? Yes, the rebound comes there, and so does the re-engage.
Oh no!
Gets it?
Touch it so rough. How many times have you seen this in solo queue? Kled just turning around the gank on, getting back on Scarlet the last second. Supsi needed follow up, do a little bit more to help his jungler with that gank. But this is now Kled with 1 kill with a 10 CS advantage, and this is just gonna be tree chopping time. That's dead.
Oh, can the bot lane heal does come down, but Blank gonna be just fine and dandy. Ginger Joe stays alive. Alex P not getting his stun down onto Mezzy, but will they have enough? It's not looking likely. Prism walks over the wall, gets one, gets a second for his team. That is 2 kills going down. Disco Daken, however, gets 1 in return, but it's looking so rough already for Ulster.
Oh, TU Dublin are starting off how they ended the last game, just constantly going forward. It's 1 kill after another on every part of the map, and they're turning it into more as well. I tell a lie, they weren't able to get any plates in that bot lane, so not turning into much more for the moment, but with how strong Blank is already on this Jhin, with how strong their jungler is off that kill, with the Moo having the ultimate potentially able to come over, they could just look to set up this dragon now if they wanted to, get themselves an early Infernal, and really look to start scaling those damage dealers, because they've got a lot of them.
Basically, all of them are damage dealers. Even Nautilus if you're at the unlucky end of his tanker, so need to be careful for that one. And I think that dragon should be taken rather soon with the amount of pressure they have in the bot lane. CS lead, not so much there anymore, but Messi now walking back into the bottom lane. Disco Daken is there, but so is Prism. Concussive blows, not gonna stun up just yet. Ginger Joe does get hooked. Parallel convergence, it is all on the support. They need to kill him fast. They get him, and that's another stun going down into Prism. I don't think they have the damage to deal with him just yet. He just bashes away. Does he go down to the time miner? No, he will not, but a good response to get back into this game.
Definitely a great response, and disaster narrowly averted for TU Dublin there. Is if their jungler had dropped as well, that would have been a lot. As it is, there is at least a chance for him to steal the Drake. The Moon needs to be a little bit careful here, as he could potentially end up under tower. He'll be okay for the moment, but Supsy will hit 6 shortly. If the Moo can't remount before then, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. It's fine. Yeah, great gank in the bot lane. It's led to the Infernal Drake going over to Ulster University as well. And as we said, that with how the game had been going down on that bottom side, and that really should have been TU Dublin. So that's a big turnaround and a big win for Ulster University in this situation.
Big win for them, but we haven't really talked about what this means, right? What are we looking at if we get into the mid game? What are we looking at if we get into the later stages of the game, right? Because a lot of things have happened, right? There's new 2k gold lead for the side of TU Dublin, but in the grand scheme of things, will it be enough to maybe take down the Vladimir later on into the game?
A lot of it is going to come down looking across the board to how well this Vladimir plays out the team fights, right? Vladimir has the potential to, go 1v5, take out everyone on the opposite team with good ults, big damage. But at the same time, Vladimir can also just run in and die very quickly, and there's enough CC and damage on the other side for that to happen if Rwandus isn't careful. So eyes are going to be on Vladimir in these mid-game, but especially late-game team fights if we get that far. He is lucky he's the Maokai to do a bit of setting up for him. The Brahma's the follow-up setup as well. And 2 kind of extra damage dealers in the Echo and MF. But the 3 big members of this Ulster University squad are going to be that Maokai, Brahm, and Vladimir in team fights. That's
that got curved. Oh, that happens. Yeah, for now, this Vladimir is just kind of vibing 0-0-0, but you know who isn't vibing? It's gonna be Supsy. He has the Nature's Cross available to himself. Not sure if that's going to be enough. Prism tries to get past it as Supsy misses his knockback. He is now safe and steady on the tower. Charge has come down. Moo resets the aggro, and Prism should just be able to just get out of that one, even with the slow. Daken trying his hardest to try and get something out of this, but I'm not sure if he can.
Echo's short little child legs, not able to keep up with Kane there, and not even the Kled. But something we haven't talked about because it hasn't come up until this moment. Kled, one of the best tower divers in the game. You just walk in there, you tank tower, once you jump off Scarlet, resets the aggro. Good example of it there. I think the move was so low enough that it wasn't exactly as they would have wanted. Prism did go pretty low, but they managed to get those couple of tower shots onto Moo, and then Prism tanks the rest of it from there. Maokai goes down. Supsy, it's unfortunately only going to get worse in this top lane from here. Kled has managed to already pick up a Hex Drinker, and so Maokai really won't be able to trade in this lane anymore.
Yeah, Maokai's struggling a little bit. He's 26? Did I do it right?
Yeah, except then he got 3 CS and proved wrong as you were saying.
That's not on me though, so I got it right in the beginning.
I mean, your maths was pretty slow, Dutch Source. Maybe if you were quicker, you wouldn't have picked up those 3 CS in time. Yeah, he's down a lot of CS in this top lane. He's getting. I mean, that's just mean, right? But at the same time, he is still Maokai, and all Maokai needs to do is land one big ultimate in the mid game, lock up a key target at the right time, and Supsy will be doing his job. Not if he misses cannon minions, though. That hurts a little bit.
We don't have to mention it. I missed it, so maybe the viewers missed it as well, and now he feels really bad about it.
I feel like it's more likely the viewers are just willfully ignoring Supsy doing anything wrong.
Oh, okay. Quickly to change could change the pace a little bit as Moon misses his bear trap on a rope. Charges 40. Seems to be still, not really winning these just as hard as he probably wants to.
Definitely not, and that I think is off the back of a few missed bear traps on ropes. Another one there is what's allowing Supsy to trade back in this lane, because not only is that a lot of Kled's damage in these trades, but it's also what allows him to get grievous wounds onto it, as Supsy is just going to keep coming out on top as long as those don't land. But the move has the extra anchor, will manage to remount fairly shortly here, and that's the deceptive thing about Kled, right? It looks like you're winning these trades. You're coming out on the health wars, except every time you remount Kled, which he does if you don't kill him, he's just going to get about another 200 or 300 health back.
Yeah, that's, well, that is the champion, so it's really unfortunate for Supsy, but for now he's just trying to get any CS that he can on this tower. Also, Kayn still not having his form, so we should be getting that shortly with the ganks he has been having in the top lane. That was an interesting attempt on that hook. Doesn't really connect though. Depth charge is also available for this bot lane, as we do see another fight in the top lane move. Trying to get Supsy charged is available. Supsy not having a lot of mana left in the tank, probably wants to back and TP back to top lane.
Yeah, Supsy can't stay under that tower. He'll just get dove if he sticks around. So that is going to be recalled. It's going to be, as you say, probably going to have to be a TP back to lane for Supsy. And with how good Maokai is at these TP gangs bot lane, that's going to hurt a little bit, because that would have been a chance to, maybe look for something on the bottom side of the map, turn it around, get this lane rolling again. So he's going to save it. He's going to give up his own lane for his bot lane. That's a true top laner right there, sacrificing it all for his bot lane.
I mean, he's just making it harder for himself, because that's now 2 third plates going over to the move. Well, 320 gold. Man, see, I am a diesel. 320 gold goes over in those pockets of those grabby hands of Kled. That's gonna be a lot of damage. Nice.
Love that stacking damage on the grenades. The
more look at the things, Doc, and maybe in a little bit of trouble as the rest of the team joins flank right there. So is Cprom. Just waiting on the side lanes. They might be wanting to fight this one. Bullet time is up and available. There goes the Glacial Fissure. That charge only hitting the map, but look at that teleport. Back in the backline, it's going to be moved. They won't have a response to this one. This to Godakin still alive, trying his hardest to get a couple of kills for his team. He just doesn't seem to be able to get it. And Supsy joins very, very late. Curtain call. Could really call the curtains on this early game from Ulster University. Dragon up for the taking. Supsy going down.
Oh, they can't try and dive this Echo, can they? He has ultimate. This would be so greedy. Yeah, just back out, take the dragon. You've won the fight. That was 4 kills for nothing. And a huge fight from TU Dublin. They're just going to push down this bot lane. They're going to get the plate goal. They want it all. They're getting the dragon at the same time.
Oh, Dakin goes forward. Does he have the damage? For now, he doesn't. He has the chrono break though. Will that do enough? No! He gets the stun afterwards. He's going to get a return kill. Well played by him on the edge of his mana bar. But I'm not sure if that's going to be enough.
There's a reason I called it greedy. I mean, attacking the Echo who has ultimate under his tower is a risky play at the best of times. And without cooldowns, it was even riskier. Cprom will pay for it, but in the grand scheme of things, that just means it's 1 kill in exchange for 4. A dragon, a tower plate went over as well. That's so much gold that's just rolled into the pockets of TU Dublin. It's the dragon as well. They've started stacking their own now. We're going to be on this mountain rift. So their 1 tank will get a little bit tankier. The Kled will, in fact, not be going for that kind of tank build we see a bit more often. I think he's going towards a Gore Drinker of his own. So we'll be drain tanking rather than tanking in from that top lane. But just so many members from TU Dublin got so strong off that play.
Yeah, it's actually kind of ridiculous how that one played out. Good response from the move, I feel like. Making sure that everyone's caught off, that the TP was earlier than Supsy's. And
you're right. That reminded me, was what I wanted to bring up about that, was Supsy was kind of just AFK pushing the wave in top lane. That fight had been going for 10-15 seconds by the time he pulled the trigger on that teleport, and definitely could have done so a bit earlier. And then when he did teleported to the top side of the river. The fight moved away to the bottom side of the river, and Supsy just really wasn't able to get involved at all. And we said it, I said it before that fight. It's super important to have both the Vladimir and the Maokai there to set themselves up, to set each other up. And it just didn't happen that time around for Ulster University. That's part of why that fight just went so poorly for them.
Very poorly, I'd say. That's not the kind of early game you want to see. That's 4k gold lead now over in the pockets of TU Dublin. And compared to our game 1, which was very, very close, it's looking already like a bit of a TU Dublin favorite matchup in this game too. You know, I feel like they have the skating as well. They shouldn't be too worried. You know, besides the echo. Excuse me. That well, Alex P goes down very low, but a good shield stops it from going down a lot longer. They just need to make sure that it doesn't curve around. They both survive.
Yeah, Blank didn't even want to consider waiting, trying to look to sneak one of those shots around. They just want to get it out. If they got lucky, they got lucky, and they're going to look to push this in, take more tower plates, pressure down this tower. Echo is arriving in the area. There's a potential for a counter attack if TU doesn't go too aggressive in this bot lane right now, but they're reading it out. Great game sense by them. They backed away from the play. They're not going to overcommit for these tower plates.
Probably noticed that they weren't as scared as they probably should be. Now again, they're looking for dive pings to come down, but I think that turret not all that healthy anymore.
Yeah, Echo's still in the area.
I'll take a quick look.
There is still a chance if they push this wave too far forward. But again, look, they're just chilling. They're not pushing this too far forward. Plates have gone down. There's no need to overcommit to this right now. And Kayn is ganking in the top lane. Supsy is being punished for staying under tower this low.
Yeah, he has a Rust as well, so the drain tanking can start for him too. So we have a fight in the bottom lane. Glacial Fissure knocks up Mezzy. He's gonna be stunned. He's gonna be taken down, and Ginger Joe, unfortunately, going to be the one that picks up that kill for himself. Now, Seafoam and Rwanda's in a bit of a kerfuffle. They might be looking for a dive here. Keep in mind that Chrono Break is also very strong for that dive potential. As Discodaka now walks forward, gets a shot down. Didn't even want this team to get assist. He wants to be the carry, but it does mean all of the pressure in topside goes on unpunished.
Yo, Supsy can't hold this alone even when he respawns. There's a chance that this inhib tower just dies to the Kayn and the Kled right here. Yeah, I mean, that's an inhib tower 17 minutes into the game. It was well played by Ulster University. I mean, in theory, that's the right play. You know, you see the enemy jungler top lane, you have your jungler in the bottom lane. That's a free pass to just go ham, fully attack the enemy bot lane. They got 2 kills out of it. They got a tower out of it. The problem was, the reason Kayn was topside is because he'd been up there taking down the Rift Herald. Fight in the mid lane, though, no time to break it down.
Chrono Break still available. He used it, misses unfortunately as the depth charge knocks him back up. Shockwave available. She's looking for the perfect opportunity. Doesn't want to use it just yet as Prism joins in, yeets that kill away for his team. It's looking awfully rough for Ulster University after that first game. Knockup connects onto Ginger Joe. The pool only going to do so much. The shield's gonna be there. There is Mezzy with a flash, and he hits those hooks. Double knockup from Prism. Mezzy not taking a lot of damage. Bullet time comes down, secures the kill. Overextension a little bit, but it doesn't really matter. They got their kills. They got what they came for.
That's Mezzy showing his opposite number how to flash hook, because Blank is just 1v2 in the mid lane. What? I mean, sure.
Thank you, Enforcement. I love seeing that item.
Oh, that was so dumb. You can see it. Alex P just didn't expect the burst that comes out of Gale Force Jhin with the active, and that was a lot of burst. Not even a 4th shot needed for that one. That's Blank just stepping up. That is the player we kind of expected him to be in this series. And this is TU Dublin. Not the cleanest play out of him. You know, Mezzy definitely didn't need to die at the end of that, but they are extending their lead. They're getting objectives across the map. Even when they get kills, even if it looks scrappy, they're turning it into the objective afterwards, picking up this Drake as well. And they're looking on pace for a much cleaner game 2 than they did game 1.
Oh, Darkin got spotted out on a ward. He didn't realize, and that means that the Drake attempt is gonna be stopped. Steal attempt, excuse me. So Moon now finds Ginger Joe again, as they so often have in these games. See, nothing really coming from that one.
Yeah. Jhin up in the top lane, Blank just getting more free farm, has a 30 CS lead over his lane opponent, and without many objectives on the map, all these fights are probably not going to lead to all that much other than maybe a kill.
Darkin and Supsy actually do find Mezzy though, but the TP is going to be channeled. It's going to be the Moo joining in on this fight. They get the pick beforehand. Do they win the fight afterwards? Double ultimate, double misses though. That could be huge in this fight as the Moo trying his hardest to stack his Conqueror, get the lifesteal. Deadly Flourish hits Supsy and now in a lot of trouble. Decides to try and make a play, gets punished for it. Curtain Call comes down and a lot of damage is available. Discodarkin wanting to tank that one, but there is Moo actually. Blank picks up a kill. They just keep running forward. They just keep finding these kills. Humble Trespass. Not gonna be enough just yet as Prism gets himself to safety over the wall, but another one fight, 2-4-0 for the side. Oh, Deadly Flourish. He doesn't have bullets though. There are the third shots. Heals. Get himself into safety.
I mean, that fight kind of just came out of nowhere. It seemed a little bit unnecessary by both teams. There's nothing on the top side. Baron has only just spawned. It spawned during that fight. I mean, sure, there was a low health mid tower, but I feel like TU Dublin could have gotten it anyway. And both teams, I mean, the move committed teleport to that. Rwanda's committed ultimate. I think committed teleport as well to that fight. And with, you know, another dragon spawning in 3 minutes, those teleports aren't going to be up for that. Baron is now an objective that's live on the map. It was a weird fight for both teams to take, and I think it was a case of both teams started committing ultimates and teleports, and neither one wanted to be the one to back down. And again, it's just TU Dublin coming out on top in a fight, and this one just extends their gold lead a little bit.
Yeah, now looking at oh lord, 8k in 20 minutes. That is a big difference to try and circum if you are Ulster University. And I'm looking right at both of these comps, and I see a Maokai and an Echo and like a Braum. It's just hard to claw your way back into this game, I feel like.
It's not a lot of damage on the Ulster University side to, as you say, claw their way back into this one as well. And this is going to be a little bit of pressure from the Mu. Nearly just 1v1ing the Vladimir. The Grievous Wounds that Kled has built into his kit coming up big in more than one side lane matchup in this game.
Yeah, apparently that was just the smart pick of this game. I didn't even realize, even against the Echo, can do a fair bit. Let's see what Prism wants to do. Doesn't really have a whole lot of backup besides Blank with that Deadly Flourish in range.
With that said, we still want to see Grievous Wounds built on someone else in this game. Kled can only do it to one person at a time, right? And there is a Maokai, there is a Vladimir that you kind of want to stop from drain tanking your entire team in these late game team fights. So sooner rather than later would be ideal for Grievous Wounds to come through on someone, and there's plenty of options of who to build it on. You know, Nautilus does a great job of applying it with Thornmail, but it'll take him a long time to get there. Oriana does a good job of applying it to multiple people in team fights if she picks up a Morellonomicon. So whoever picks it up, even the Kane can pick it up, does an okay job of getting it across multiple people. But the move maybe overtakes welcome.
On the move, let's see, he doesn't even get the remount, so that's 800 gold going over to this Kodaka. Nice pickup, they don't lose anything around the map for now. But Alex P needs to be careful in this mid lane, of course. A dive very much in the woodwork if they want to go for it. But he stays safe. Good little pickup from UU.
And Dakin, now with the most kills in the game, is sitting on 6, has gotten a couple of big shutdowns as part of those kills as well. So is definitely feeling pretty comfortable and has the potential, you know, even if Blank is ahead, even if Blank is very strong, Dakin can probably just one-shot him in these team fights unless Mezzi is really on his game and keeping this Echo off of his AD carry. So Dakin now is kind of suddenly become the most important player in this game. A lot of it is going to come down to whether or not he can just assassinate Blank in the backline or kill CProm off before a big shockwave manages to land. The big man on the other side, I think at the moment, you have to look at the Mu in this side lane. Got caught out there, stayed a little bit long, but is applying huge amounts of pressure by himself.
Yeah, he can even do a fair bit in that team fight we were talking about. That charge does a lot, and flash away from Soups. He was good. He stays safe, crucially before the dragon spawns, but I don't really think they want to fight it just yet.
And I was completely wrong when I said Soupsy wouldn't have teleported, or it was Rwanda's used teleport. I was right. Never mind, I don't have to post a retraction. That's Rwanda's won't have teleport again off that weird fight that happened in the top side. The Mu and Rwanda's both use teleports. Neither will have elements to the Drake, but Dakin might just dive for it anyway.
Speaking about the move, the 3-man shockwave doing a fair bit of work. No one dies.
No one dies, but a lot of members forced to back away from the side of Ulster University, and that was in the top side of the map. It's not even anywhere near the Drake, and so Kane will just get this one for free. This will be 3 Drake soul points already in this game for the side of TUD.
Yeah, well set up for them. Only one more dragon, and that is a huge dragon as well. It is that mountain drake, of course, doing a lot of work, getting them shields, getting them the resistances, and it makes it all the harder for this Vladimir to actually go through.
It'll make it very difficult for a lot of people on the other side to get their burst off. You know, the Dakin, it'll be a lot harder for him to actually manage to kill someone off. This is another fight in the middle of a jungle for kind of no reason.
Double knockup. That charge says, what a shockwave. No, it wasn't. But it doesn't really matter because the rest of the team is close enough. This could actually just destroy their base. Baron up for the taking if they want to go for it. Another quick pickup. 3 people die one after another. And TUD really set up well to win this game.
And you can see it. TU Dublin are just sprinting across the map. They want this Baron right now. Kled has the way pushed in top lane, as Kled has all game long. Blank is the only member here at the moment, and there was a ward there, so they'll know that they're on it. Orianna TPing in there. They should still have plenty of time to get this one down. And TU Dublin, they're consistently winning fights, consistently turning it into objectives, and this has been a pretty clean game by them so far.
Yeah, compared to the first game especially, they have been on an absolute roll, as they are now winning in the early game, the mid game, and the late game, instead of just getting a catch.
They're well set up, right? This is looking good for them. They have the Baron, they have Kled, who's already been a menace in these side lanes. There's no one who can stand up to him 1v1 at the moment, and now with the Baron buff, that's only going to get worse for Ulster University. Kled can now just look to push these towers down by themselves. So if the rest, you want to see these other 4 members set themselves up in one of the side lanes, Kled on the other side of the map. They're not doing it at the moment. They are just sending everyone to the same place. As this is okay.
This is okay? Well, yeah, I feel like it's a little hard to because like last time with the Orianna, this time it is just that Vladimir, which needs to be ahead, which needs to have those items to try and burst down the backline. It's just not there. That means that your only consistent damage dealer is that MF, but I'm not really sure that's enough.
Should be okay. They have decided not to go for the split push strat, which, I mean, look, interesting. You have a strong split push who's been split pushing all game. As soon as you get the Baron to enable that split push, you just go for a group strat instead. But we'll see. They've done a good job all series long of just pulling the trigger when they need to. So the Moo has that charge available. We could just see 5 members of TU Dublin running headfirst and 5 members of Ulster University to try and close this game out. As Ginger Joe wandering through the jungle looking for wards.
What a story that is, but that could be a decent response. No barrel conversion, not really followed up upon. Seacrom still alive, Shockwave not available, but they are still alive. Not for long. That collector collected Disco Daken, I might say. The Moo now trying to get up on these tanks. He's finding Disco Joe. He's finding the rest of the team shortly after. Finding the concussive flows are there. Knock up just on one. I'd say they have bitten off a bit more than they can chew, but it doesn't really matter. Wonders heals up back to full, but he is the only man standing between a loss and a win, as he goes down in the end as well.
Great fight by TU Dublin, right? That's what they've been doing all series long. It wasn't the Mood charging headfirst into 5 people with his team around him, but it was the Mood charging headfirst into 3 people on the back of that fight. And still living, because Kled is a fun champion to play against. Remounting, doing a good job. Blank just pumping out huge amounts of damage. Killed Disco Daken before he could even use his ultimate to stay alive. Disco Daken is back alive. Will pick up 1 kill.
The fade away. He gets 1 for the stats, but it's still gonna be a 2-0. And with that, the match point going over towards TUD.
TU Dublin looking strong. 2-0 already in this series. It'll have to be a reverse sweep for Ulster University if they want to pull this one back. And those are hard at the best of times, but this is a TU Dublin who've ramped up over the last 2 games. They just look to be getting stronger, and it's going to take a lot to break this momentum by Ulster University.
If if Fnatic tells me anything, it means that anything can happen in the best of 5. So we'll be back after a short little break, and then we'll see if TU Dublin can close it out, or if it's going to be that reverse sweep potential. Be right back. Welcome back to our third and potentially last game of not just tonight, but of the Ice League of Legends experience. I am still Dutch Source, and I'm still joined by Neo Leak, and we'll go get into draft for a third game.
Yeah, we're expecting to see probably Ulster University still focus a bit on Blank, although even after they banned away 2 champions last game, he posted some pretty big plays on that Jhin. So maybe they'll go for something else. TU Dublin still relatively unchanged on these bans. Anivia away from Rwanda's one more time. Orin away from Supsi in that top lane, just keeping him off his main comfort pick and the thing that the team is really most comfortable playing around. And then a little bit of a change up, taking away the Graves. Dakin had a great game last game on the Echo, but wasn't enough to actually close the game out for his team or really look all that competitive for most of the game. But taking the Graves away, just a strong pick that Dakin is very comfortable on. So it makes sense as well.
So I missed Ben. We heard some complaints about the timer not really working out, so I'm just gonna keep my eyes on the chat. It is going to be a Shen Ben, so that won't be in the hands of Mu again. Nor will it be in the hands of Supsi, who, well, to be honest, not having the best of games in that last one. I'm kind of curious what he's going to do this one. Jhin still left open, and Blank did have a good performance on the last time, so he might as well.
Definitely did, catching people off guard with that Gale Force a few times, just getting kills where maybe Ulster University weren't expecting them. Over on the other side, we haven't seen Alex P on anything other than the Miss Fortune, but it will be an Ashlock in this time around. So trying something a bit different, and I like to see that. I mean, if you're not going to adapt when you're 2 games down in a best 5, when are you going to adapt?
True. Might as well. Oops. Whoa, excuse me. What was that? I'm gonna take a sip of water. You take it away.
Excellent. Orianna locked in as well. Rwandas will get his hands back on that one. Had a few big ultimates in game 1 and was part of the reason they looked strong, as TU Dublin will look to take the Echo away from Disco Dakinu. As we mentioned, had a lot of kills in that last game, was doing a lot of damage, just wasn't quite able to do enough to put his team in position to win anything. TU Dublin really have just been better at picking fights in this series so far. Honestly, draft is massively important, but I don't think it's ever been a draft mismatch. Ulster University haven't just been lost from draft, they've just been out team fought, out skirmished by TU Dublin across the course of the games.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. We saw throughout the game. So even, you like could win those early game fights in that game 1 anyway, show why they are in this finals, but then afterwards they just lacked a little bit. See what that last looking. I'm expecting it's either support or a top lane. Oh, jungle, actually, potentially, as that Maokai gets looked in. So another Maokai pick for Supsi. This time, he won't have to face the Kled, so we can all breathe a sigh of relief.
Still a little bit of potential to get bullied by the Cho'Gath, but less of one. Cho'Gath isn't going to be looking to just dominate that lane from the get-go, and I think that's a smart lock-in. TU Dublin have shown that they're willing to go after Supsi in this ban phase, that they'll take as many of his champions off the board, and he ended up on that Poppy in game 1 that, he looked okay on, but didn't look massively comfortable on. So just getting that Maokai locked in makes sense. And now we'll see a lot of support bans, I reckon, as both of these teams happy to just lock up each other's pools and put them onto something a little bit less comfortable.
So if we're gonna see another support ban, I'm expecting to see the trash just being taken away, and then most of the strong supports, bar I'd say like Rakan, are basically being taken off of the table. There are still some enchanted supports up and available, like the Nami with that Imperial Mandate is still very strong. Lulu's up as well, but instead we will see the jungle being taken out of the hands.
Yeah, pinching the hecker away from Dakin. Makes sense. Strong champion. Kane, of course, still available in this, and Ulster University might just look to pick that up now as just a strong pick, one of the few left there in the jungle at the moment, and then put TU Dublin in a little bit of an awkward spot, having to pick jungler.
Okay.
But hey, Kha'Zix is pretty fun.
Now we're talking. I am not entirely sure just yet who he's going to focus, but hoping to see after that mid lane pick that he gets a little bit of an easier time, because now, realistically, it is only the Jhin that he can go towards, and that Sejuani definitely doesn't make it easier for him.
This will be a very tanky team if they have Sejuani and Cho'Gath. We're still waiting on the lock-in. I don't want to call it 2 just yet, and I was right not to, because they've swapped over to Olaf. And so it's going to be fighting fire with the fire a little bit. Both junglers going to be looking to just run at squishies and mow them down. And Olaf into Ashe is pretty nice. Not going to be getting slowed down. Can actually get on top and take her out, unlike a lot of these fighter champions that might be looking to get on top of her.
Yeah, it does in fact mean that we're gonna see that Echo in the mid lane, not in the jungle. So that's good to note. And we were talking about it a little bit. The Enchanter support still up and available. I don't like the Karma, but you know it's still okay. I think like he hasn't been really all that well suited for new items. So
It does okay, yeah. Could go forward that Imperial mandate as well, possibly, because you have the slows, you do have a bit of CC. And at the same time, I think just in anything that impairs blank is probably fine, right? And even then, Karma fits in nicely with the rest of the team. Cho'Gath getting a little bit of extra speed to get in and nom someone. Olaf getting a shield and more speed to run towards Ashe and try and take her out of a fight. All of it makes sense. So it's a little bit unconventional. Of course, you know, Lulu exists and does all of those things better than Karma. But that's going to be locked in over on the other side.
it does give them a very strong team fight. You know, a bit of peel. The Ashe, Orianna, Maokai Quadracom can do a lot of work, and then Kha'Zix just tries to get Jhin out of the fight, right?
Yeah.
I really like what they've built for themselves here. It is Rwandus also back on that Orianna, which he played very, very well in the early stages of game 1.
Definitely did.
And on the other side, now TV's kind of forced to make early game plays, right? With the Jhin, with the Olaf, who falls off of a cliff if we get into the later stage of a game. So we should finally see, well, a predicted early game aggression game plan. We have seen a lot of aggression anyway, so it's like
a lot of aggression, yeah. Not always focused particularly well, but definitely aggression from both teams. And it's interesting. This is a very different look from Ulster University. This is now a lot of pressure on Alex P not to fall behind in lane, because this Ashe is going to need to be outputting a lot of damage, and the Lulu's there to enable that as well. But yeah, Alex P, it's 2 misfortune games in which he never really got to shine, was kind of just getting overshadowed by blank, was not really getting to be put in positions by his team where he'd get to land big ultimates. Now it's going to be all about his own positioning with the Lulu behind him. And whether or not he can chop through this front line of a Cho'Gath and an Olaf who are going to be charging at him, with an Echo potentially jumping as well, in time before he goes down to them.
It will be a very hard game for him, but he has a little bit of peel. He has a little bit of help. Double shields. Maokai is a BB frontliner, so it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Of course, again, we have to add suspension to the game by waiting for 3 minutes before we get into it. So we'll be right back as soon as we load onto Summer's Rift. Welcome back to our third game. Match point for TU Dublin. Everything to play for Forest University if they want to continue and crawl their way back. This is their one and only chance to finally get a series going. And, well, good news for Neoleok and other degenerates. His favorite champion is in the top lane.
Hey, it's Cho'Gath. It's a fun cap. I don't know if I'd rank it over Shen or Urgot, but you know, it's still pretty.
It's not?
I mean, it's still a fun champion. It's all right. Objectively, a terrible skin though. I really don't like Battle Chats Cho'Gath, but I'm aware I'm in the minority on that, so I'll keep my filthy opinions to myself. It'll be a relatively straightforward matchup up there for both of them. I think just a bit of farming. We could see some kill pressure in the early game, but it's a bit unlikely. It's going to be the rest of the map where things are a bit more spicy, I think. We're seeing for the first time Alex P on something other than the Miss Fortune in this series. On the Ashe, has a Lulu to back him up. And so will, potentially be able to get something going if he manages, say, even in farm against Blank. And this time, there's no hard engage for either side in the bot lane. There's no hard engage coming out of the jungle. Really, there's no hard engage in this game at all, apart from the top laners. So getting things done is going to rely purely on picking your moment as a jungler, getting the timing right, and just out-damaging whatever the other team has to offer.
I think neither of these junglers would be too unhappy to just full clear, right? It is Kha'Zix who wants this evolves, it is Olaf. Well, Olaf we actually do want to see, getting in some action there, because he actually needs that gold to stay relevant.
Definitely does, and wants to snowball this early game. If Olaf doesn't snowball the early game, Olaf is a relatively useless pick. So it's going to be tough. Olaf needs to get something going, but also doesn't really have the lanes to get something going for him. Other than, this top lane, which is okay, but you're still ganking a Maokai with a Cho'Gath for backup. And he's already taking a bit of damage here. We'll sustain all that back up with Cho'Gath, passive restoring health. But, landing abilities will also help you win these trades a bit better.
Oh, that's an interesting boss time. We did see a little bit of a skirmish in the bottom lane. Ginger Joe is gonna get a 4-shot into his face.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage. This is top 10 pictures taken moments before disaster right now for Ginger Joe, who's possibly even gonna have to blow flash to get out of this one, depending on karma cooldowns as well. We have plenty of time to just break down this one freeze frame of Ginger Joe with a grenade bouncing away, with Blank loading up the 4-shot, with Alex P all the way out of the picture over on the right, really not in range to do all that much to help. We're expecting a couple of summoners to be blown in this bot lane trade right now, I think.
For sure. Sorry, I'm just thinking. I was thinking about Ashe ult for some reason, but I'm not sure if we're far enough in the game yet. You tell me.
I'd have to break it down and say, at the moment, 2 minutes and 24 seconds of the game, it is unlikely that Alex P has access to his ultimate, especially with only being level 2. But who knows? I mean, stranger things have happened.
That would be really strange, though. Like, genuinely top of the line, like.
I mean, that'd be a remake, I feel like. I don't know the rules very well, but I'm pretty sure someone would remake the game if Ashe ulted at level 2. Look,
yeah, I'd agree,
Olaf is full clearing at the moment. Has full cleared, the bot side is towards mid. We'll probably head over and get that blue, and then with the way things are going, potentially look for something in the top lane after that. Cho'Gath should be able to push this wave to tower and then bounce it out, and Kha'Zix is doing the opposite, clearing and heading towards bot side. So there is a chance for Prism to get something going on this top side of the map, to get that early snowball ahead. And we've seen the move versus Supsy. This has been the move favorite in both games so far.
It's actually kind of funny how both of these junglers are moving towards the lane HP that is pushing in, right? So the chances of a gank, I think, aren't all that high. Especially, you don't really want to dive with the Olaf Cho'Gath unless you really know what you're doing. And from the dive we've seen, it has been a little bit questionable from time to time. I think I can say that. I think that's fair.
A little bit questionable. To be fair, it has been TU Dublin who've been pulling off their dives a bit more successfully.
The force shot didn't come.
He didn't fourth shot. Just wasn't ready on the trigger fingers on that one. And so, yeah, no, nothing will happen on that bot lane. And we hyped it up for absolutely nothing. And it's kind of disappointing.
This bot lane is Cyberpunk.
Oh, let's not bring that up on this right now, okay? That's a minefield of a conversation right there.
That's true. It's true. Well,
he's gonna bounce this wave, right? Olaf has gone bot lane.
Olaf didn't want to go that blue buff. He just wants to go into the bottom lane. He has his access available. Flashes for Ginger Joe. Still alive. How is he still alive? Prism is being taken out blank now on the brink of death. Well, we were talking about Dice a little bit before, and I guess our dreams came true.
Ooh, that's rough, Roth. That's going to delay the topside clear as well. Now there's a Disco Dakin appearing on the bot lane. Mezzi's in trouble.
Yeah, Mezzi being slowed. Flash forward from Disco Dano. He gets a one of his stacks. I forgot. Oh man, this is not going well. Double kill for this Disco Dakin. Dark Harvest, dear lord, I'm so sorry.
Hype. This is Soupsy. Soupsy, you okay there? He's fine. He's fine. He's winning this trade. Moo will level up, and that'll be fine. Soupsy will level up too. This is fine. That's Kha'Zix that's going to be real scary. You know, we had a little vote in Twitch chat between the games. It's going to be Lethality Kha'Zix instead of Gore Drinker Kha'Zix, and he better stick to that, or I will lose all respect I have for him. But you know, you're going to be getting towards an early serrated Dirk. Should be able to do a little bit more if he shows up to these lanes again in the future. And Olaf, just honestly, you know, getting the first blood, great. Getting killed directly afterwards, slowing down this clear of the top side, slowing down how quickly this Olaf can go to another lane and try to get something done is definitely not what Prism wanted.
Well, the not so awful news, but not great news either. He's still even in CS, right? So he hasn't fallen behind in that aspect. Yes, he is 2 kills down, which is definitely not something you want to see, especially considering that this is a Kha'Zix, right? Kha'Zix, he's fine in the late game if he can get openings towards the carries, but if he gets ahead, if he snowballs right, it is such a scary thing to deal with.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrifying. I guess the nice thing is, you know, there is okay survivability with the Karma as well, as this is Alex P trading aggressively in this lane, and for the first time in the series, the TU Dublin bot lane might be a little bit on the back foot. On the back foot, you know, it's Alex P picking up a kill and assist, has those Berserker speed already, can look to walk forward, trade aggressively, and then back away before much damage can come back, and that's potentially a good thing and a very new thing for this Ulster University side.
Yeah, even Rwanda's looks a lot more comfortable in this matchup, where LXP now has the range. Rwanda's now has Soriana, who's been feeding, you know, a lot better by themselves. It's about 10 CS ahead. Keep in mind it is Echo, so as soon as that ultimate does come down, the lane will be a little bit more favored towards his side.
And to look towards that mid lane, yeah, Seabron is really... Oh, that's
Flash forward from Mezzi. Root does come down. So does the Deadly Flourish. But he still has Flash available, so it was all for nothing. And now we have a gank in the top lane. The Moo has his flash up as well. Nice leap away from the Rupture. And that means all across the map, it is UU winning.
Woo! This is an Olaf who wanted to snowball the early game, but it's the Kha'Zix who's doing it instead. Got that early serrated Dirk on the first back, got an extra longsword on top just for good measure. And shows up to the top lane, kills the Moo. This is Soupsy having an advantage in a lane that he also hasn't really had an advantage in all series long. And in the mid lane, I wanted to bring it up, Seaprom. We haven't really mentioned him at all this series because he's kind of just been doing his job in the mid lane. Hasn't done anything to really, you know, call our attention his way. But not in a negative sense either. You know, his team has been winning the other lanes, and that's all he's needed to do is sit back, you know, make the right moves to be there when people need him to be there. But this game around, you know, Rwanda's is pushing him a little bit. Has picked up 15 CS lead, and Seaprom will need to be a little careful as all of a sudden he has 2 side lanes that aren't going particularly well, and on the Echo is in a position to help them if he can start to push this lane out, if he can find roam timings.
Teleport also, you know, the summoner spell of choice in that sense, so he can roam even easier if that is back up. So we see Rwanda's is actually kind of funny that we've seen 4 TPs across the whole series, right? I think that is that's something that happened this game.
Yeah, and these players, they just want to show up and brawl. That's we saw it last game, even when there wasn't objectives available to fight over, really. They were still just happy to commit TPs, happy to just all show up and have a good old scrap in the jungle. And so I'm not expecting that to slow down in this game at all.
Especially considering how this early game went, especially considering that this Olaf now a little bit on the back foot, just 1 kill compared to the 3 of Disco Dakin. And it is. I'm expecting just this Olaf to keep sticking bot side, right? No flash available for LXP now. Ultimate's not up yet, so that could be a good opportunity for him to actually try and regank that one.
I mean, bot lane's just so juicy, right? Every other lane only has one person, and you go bot lane, there's 2 people you can kill. That's one more. That's 50% of extra people.
Shockwave comes on in the mid lane. Chrono Break still available, gets used right on top of Rwanda's. So he doesn't take a whole lot of damage himself, so ult versus ult. No, that's happening.
No deaths. And I mean, it's similar-ish cooldowns. I think the Orianna Shockwave is a bit shorter at this point. It will mean that if C-Prompt does want to try and roam to one of these side lanes, he'll be a little bit less safe if they try for a dive or anything, but really, this series hasn't been about mid laners roaming anyway, so it would be almost a break from form to see C-Prom actually show up in a side lane at this point.
Excuse me, yeah. I'm expecting them to just kind of vibe in the mid lane. They have been wanting to just kind of, farm up and carry later on into the game. Yeah. Which is fine for both of them. Echo can do fine later into the game. Orianna especially needs those items, doesn't want to go in the side lane at all anyway, realistically, so...
Blank and Mezzi doing a great job in this bot lane of getting back up on CS. I called out the fact that Alex P was a little bit ahead, had the Berserker's Greaves could go in, should be safe farming pretty effectively in this lane, but has still fallen behind. About 15 CS at this point. Wave pushed in. This is great wave control from Blank as well, keeping them near his tower, and it means that there isn't great options for Disco Dakin to come down and try this. They might just try for a dive anyway if Dakin's feeling extra spicy on this Kha'Zix.
I'm not expecting it. There is an Enchanted Crystal Arrow available, however, no wild growth just yet. We see Supsi again saving up his TP to lose a couple of plates. I think it's a fine decision. This time especially because he's not against the Kled.
Yeah, up against the Moo, who's just vibing in top lane. Has used his ultimate. This is not a lane where you're threatening kill pressure as Cho'Gath, so just use the ultimate on minions, start getting those stacks early. He is already, I believe, only on... Oh, he's on 3 stacks already. Look at him. He's doing so well at stacking those up. Good job, Moo. That's a lot of bonus help that's coming his way.
That's very quick as well, so... It's actually kind of insane.
You just use that Cho'Gath ult on cooldown a lot of the time. You want those stacks. They're really important to, making you a beefy boy. And, the more health you have, the more damage your ultimate does, the more you can threaten kills later in the game. And, as long as there's no kill pressure, just use it on the minions, right?
Right now he's trying to get Supsi into kill pressure, but Prism now joining in. Ragnarok up and available. Nature's Grasp, of course, not gonna do a whole lot. The Rupture does come down, and the kill does as well. Moo picks the one up for himself. Olaf still on the map. And they do have the Herald as well. Could be looking to spawn that one in and get a lot more gold off this map.
I mean, maybe you should see it coming, right? Prism has loved this play all series long. Pick up an early Rift Herald, and then just go up using the top lane. This won't be as good as last game when they managed to get an inhib with it at whatever time that was. I think it was about 17 minutes into the game. But that's first tower going down into the back pocket of the Moo. That's a lot of gold out of nowhere. This is going to be a Cho'Gath who can effectively just tank the entire enemy's team's damage if they're not careful, and let him do so.
That was the biggest anticlimactic camera cut I've ever seen.
Yeah. That's just they're just trading ultimates in the mid lane again, Echo gets to jump straight out if he wants.
Just before
Wait a second. Oh. Alex P is so low. Blank didn't have ultimate available, that's why he was so low. Okay, I see.
Oh, they know what is going on. Moo is there, has the camp tech available to himself, but Disco Dakin just uses his ultimate, runs away. Dragon up and available though. The Cho'Gath has Feast, they do have Ignite, so it should go over to the side of TED, who, have been in the back foot at the beginning of this game. They are now 2k up into gold.
They are. This is a kind of interesting turbo chem tank. And the more I look at it, the more I kind of like it, right? Because turbo chem tank it gives you the mythic passive of getting a lot more tenacity and slow resist, which is going to be super important for this Cho'Gath on getting on this Ashe. And that's, before we even start to talk about the active of speeding up, running at them, and then slowing them down when you get there. So even though it may not be the most efficient stat-wise, it's giving a lot of MR and only a little bit of armor against a fairly fed Kha'Zix, against an Ashe who's going to be the main threat to him in this game. It is giving him the stats he needs in a different way. It's giving him the chance to actually get on Ashe, to get onto this backline and potentially do something when he gets there.
Yeah, that feels ever so disgusting if he gets close enough to one of the carries. I'm actually really confused at how this gold lead has worked this game, because we don't see a whole lot of action after that first fight, right? Where the dive went down, and then Daken got 2 kills. Well, speaking about action, top lane, Mu in a bit of trouble. Daken actually might go down. No flash away from Mu. He's gonna be safe. And Sun Prism has Ragnarok available if you want to look for a dive, and now Daken trying to get onto the Mu Rwandas, however. Oh no! Rwandas didn't have enough mana. Another Wild Growth goes down for Ginger Joe. It could be an absolute disaster for the side of UU. One, make that 2 kills, a double kill going over for Prism. Exactly what they need, exactly why they picked this champion. And now it is TU Dublin having everything they want to get their hands on.
Oh, I was all ready to talk about the move and be like, yeah, well, you know, here's where you get caught out a bit for going for that MR heavy build against the Fed Kha'Zix. And, I mean, it's still just tanky. The fact he's been stacking those ultimates already, he's got a lot of help. Disco Daken not able to chop through the move in time, and then the turnaround. You have to respect it against Shogath. He has so much burst with that ultimate. And yeah, just heartbreaking. Rwandas had ultimate available, didn't have enough mana to cast it, didn't have any mana for abilities, so kind of just had to stand there and helplessly watch as his jungler was killed off by the Cho'Gath.
Yeah, really unfortunate stuff. And, like, that could be a little bit of miscommunication, right? It could be Rwanda saying, we can get him, and then realizing afterwards, wait, you know, well,
No
I don't have mana.
Yep.
So, unfortunate stuff there.
Of course, and the other thing that happened during that play was this Olaf is a little late in getting the train rolling, but has really set up camp in this bot lane now, pitched a tent, and is starting to find the kills, is starting to find the dragons as well. They're on 2 early Drakes. They're on track for a very, very early Mountain Soul if they can keep stacking these up, and especially against the Kha'Zix, that's going to be so nice if they can get their hands on it. Just having those extra resits, having the shield when they pick up Mountain Soul means their squishies don't instantly get deleted by the Kha'Zix as long as Disco Daken can be kept in check for a little while longer.
Yeah, it kind of negates the lead that he has, but we don't know what's going to happen between now and the next, 10 minutes, so it's Mezzy tanking a tower shot for good measure. Might as well. They're trying to push through this mid-tier 1 to open up the map a little bit for Seaprom. He's now going back, probably going to walk towards the side lane, has his TP up and available. So a little bit more pressure around the map would be good for them.
Definitely will. I'm going to do a quick stack check on Cho'Gath. Is up to 6 stacks at this point. 4 of them from minions, 1 from an epic monster, and 1 from a champion, which was that turnaround kill onto Daken. And so this is just a real tanky Cho'Gath who still can get 2 more free stacks off minions, and this is potentially just a kill onto Rwanda.
Yeah, Deadly Flourish into the curtain call. This Daken got minion blocked by his own member, couldn't block it unfortunately. It's very narrow in there, it's very crowded, so what can you do?
Space, yeah.
It is very tight, so couldn't get on top of that one. Tried his best, that was a nice attempt, like genuinely.
Solid attempt, yeah. And I'm really enjoying this Jhin Karma partnership we have going on as well. Mezzy landing long range Qs, Jhin following up with a W, Karma running in and locking them down further with the Karma W. And I mean, that's just enough time for Blank on this Jhin to kill someone off. They're getting a mid turret out of that nice little bit of play, killing off Rwandas. And once again, it's TU the Apes. They've been so good all series long. They win the fight, they turn it into the objective. I've said it over and over again, but that's because they keep on doing it. This could be a little greedy.
Daken flash forward for Blank, but he has the Gale Force, just goes away into safety. Now Mezzy might pay the price for it. Still alive. Lubov, is he gonna do it? No, it will be Rwandas just finishing it off. They're finally winning a fight, but Seaprom tries to turn it around with a beautiful chrono break. Hits everyone with that one. Flashes out to safety. 1-for-1 trade. The damage not really there for both of these teams to get anything more.
Yeah,
keep in mind, they're still pinging. Dragon is still up and available. And there's a move just behind them. He didn't even use teleport. He has Feast up. Now, teleport from Seaprom gonna be, from Supsi, gonna be channeled as they find the move. And Daken gets stunned. He doesn't get the damage. And now the Ragnarok right into everyone. Orianna goes down. Ashe goes down. Supsi, the lone member available in this fight. This will be Soul Point picked up by TU Dublin.
We weren't talking about Seaprom, but I'm happy to talk about him now because that is one of the most clutch Echo Parallel Convergence stuns you will ever see in your life. Just tagging Disco Daken on the edge of it, and if Disco Daken doesn't get tagged by the stun there, he absolutely just murders Seaprom. They can then actually turn around and probably kill off the move. Maybe they lose one member still to the move, getting his feast off, but even then he would have used his feast. They'd still have most of their members available, and they probably would have been able to turn around, clean up the rest of that fight, pick up a Drake. As it is, all of that play hinged off the back of a great stun, which led to a cleanup by Prism on the other side of the fight as members tried to back away from the move and from CPROM. And then, so point now, all of a sudden, only 18 minutes into the game for TU Dublin, who are looking... I said they're just getting stronger and stronger, right? They're now at an 8,000 gold lead in Game 3 in only 18 minutes, despite the fact Disco Dakin was popping off early.
Apparently, TU Dublin is also diesels, you know?
Yeah.
my kind of people. I like it. I appreciate it. Yeah, ramping up quickly, and now win conditions across the map. Team fighting, check. Dragon Soul, check. Baron, check. They can just do whatever they want, and they're gonna do whatever they want. As Messi now finds LXP, flashes forward, but the deadly flourish connects. And so will the curtain call. Blank picks up his second kill of the game. CPROM now in a 1 versus 2. Will he have it in him? He dodges away from the shockwave. He's still against Dakin though. The damage is there. Shutdown goes over, but a double kill still being picked up by the move.
Lewis 5 kills, he's 5-1-3, tied with his jungler for the most in the game. And what's really interesting about that is it's kind of happened on completely opposite sides of the map as well, right? Prism and the Moo, I think, have been less near each other than anyone else in this game, but they're both just popping off. The Moo's so big on this Cho'Gath. This is probably why it was banned in the last game. They're going to pick up an inhib off that. There was, 1 kill in the mid lane led to that, and the fact there was multiple members down bot side. And TU Dublin are not content with how fast they won the last 2 games. They are accelerating this one out of control. They've Mountain Drake spawning in 3 minutes. There's a Baron spawning in 20 seconds. I mean, they could possibly just do that almost on spawn if they get another pick or 2. This is just total control from TU Dublin right now.
Yeah, keep in mind no teleport available from the Moo, which makes that Baron attempt a little harder. You really want that Cho'Gath there to secure it, make it a little bit quicker. There's not a whole lot of DPS on your side besides that Olaf. So, yeah, really want that Cho'Gath to be there. But yeah, total domination in this Game 3 from TU Dublin. It looked good for UU Game 1. Looked a little bit worse for UU in Game 2. And now it looks devastating as TU Dublin just rips and tears their way through potentially a victory.
Looked okay for them at the start of this game as well. Kha'Zix getting three early kills is something that you're scared to see if you're on the other side. But from there, Dakin hasn't been able to find much. TU Dublin doing a great job of playing around that Fed Kha'Zix. He only seems to find people when they're in the middle of their team, when there's multiple other people around that can turn on him if he jumps too far forward. And so Dakin is just 4-3-1 now, where he started 3-0. It's been a rough game for this Kha'Zix so far.
Has been, even though he followed everyone's advice and went the items that everybody wanted to see.
Can still pop off, right? It's definitely look, there's still plenty of time.
There is, as he now finds CPROM, he has the Chrono Bake, heals everything back up, blasting blend being taken, and well, that's unfortunate, isn't it?
Oh, that's heartbreaking. It's going to be harder now for Dakin, obviously without Flash, to get onto a key squishy member in the middle of the team fight. I mean, I respect him for trying, right? That was absolutely the right play to go for it. Try and get a pick there. Try and get back into the swing of things. Start snowballing again, because the snowball has definitely stalled at this point. And unfortunately, it was pixels away, right, from actually managing to land there. So it's TU Dublin, like, that was a small thing, but it could be a turning point now as TU Dublin are able to more comfortably set up around the map, are able to go for this super early Baron. They have Cho'Gath nearby with an ultimate that will be able to secure this at 1200 health. I mean, I think they're just getting this uncontested at 21 minutes into the game.
Dakin is trying his hardest to actually get in though, but I think he's a little bit too late. He needs to jump in now. He ignores it, couldn't get that anyway. They decide to go for a kill. I think that's a good decision. Getting anything off the map is worth it as Dakin picks it. Another kill for himself, so they do get 1 kill. Dragon is going to be spawning in 30 seconds, but meanwhile CPROM just happily pushing in that bot lane turret as well.
Oh, they're just dragging them around the map, and honestly, Ulster University look a little bit lost. There's they can't respond quickly enough in so many different directions, and there's strong members of TU Dublin set up in multiple different places around the map that need at least 2 members to deal with. And if 5 people need at least 2 members to deal with, then you only have 5 players of your own. You're not going to have enough to deal with all of them. That's just Matt's touch. I know we said we weren't going back there, but I've brought it back.
You're bent.
We're out of here.
Oh,
This is Dragon spawning. This could be a Mountain Soul of 23 minutes into the game. Disco Dakin, if
oh
he goes down,
no,
that's...
it still connects and everything else is just easy pickings afterwards. He still gets stacked up by the curtain call and the X's afterwards. More than enough to get a double kill for Prism. They don't even want that Drake just yet. They want to farm some more kills now. I believe they will decide... Nope, they decide to just go in and end the game, potentially.
Oh, this is so... Sure, they can't end the game here. TU Dublin, come on.
They have Baron buff.
They do have Baron buff. It's only 23 minutes into the game. They have super minions in the mid lane. They have a kill on Alex King.
Blurs, they got triple shockwaves though, but it's just not enough damage. And entirely zero follow-up from anyone. Soupsy now being taken down dangerously low. Gets killed at the end of that one. And now there's not a whole lot of tools left in the tank for UU. They need to defend this. They need to win this fight. They need to stop this push from happening, or their dreams are over. Their tournament games ends here. It will be the finals. It will be TUD finishing off this one convincingly in a 3-0 fashion.
GG, well played. That's TU Dublin showing without a doubt that they are the best team in this tournament. A little bit surprising, right? Ulster University took games off this TU Dublin squad one game off this TU Dublin squad in groups. Not able to repeat that in the finals. And TU Dublin, they knew just when to push their luck, right? In all of these games, they'd get one kill and then they'd get the pick afterwards and they'd push a little bit further forward and you'd be like, right, this is the point. They have to turn around. There's a dragon there for them. Or they've gotten enough kills. They're out of ultimates. Surely they turn around now. And every time, they knew just how to push a little bit further. They got a little bit more in. And this time they took an entire game, took the entire series off the back of a couple of picks.
And even the damage is kind of telling, right? Because it wasn't Blank this time around. It was the top jungle of the Mu and Prism just snowballing their game ahead, further and further and further. So everyone on this team can carry, apparently. They played it fantastically. Yes, they had some hiccups in game 1, but they very well took it back in game 2 and 3.
Yeah, well-deserved win from them. Commiserations to Ulster University. They've obviously had a great tournament as well to get this far. Came second in their group behind this TED squad, won their semi-final, made it this far, and just a little bit unfortunate that they couldn't put up more of a fight when it came to the big day.
Unfortunate indeed. That will be it for us. That will be it for the league broadcast for this season. I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank everyone for participating. I want to thank our lovely producer for streaming today. I want to thank you for joining me. And I want to thank the organization for setting it up and having us as always. It's been fantastic, and we hope to see you next season. Thank you very much, and congratulations again to TU Dublin.